popular to use Zoom and Microsoft Teams as virtual conferencing applications as Toastmasters. I know that most clubs use Zoom. I've seen a few clubs like Total Toastmasters Club, which uses Microsoft Teams. So you just need to understand what application you're using and make sure you're well versed with its application. You could also have a mobile device. It could be your laptop, it could be your telephone, it could also be a tablet. But it's important that you are set up well, and I'll get to that. May I please ask the host to mute those who are not participating in the meeting, or to please mute yourselves if you're not speaking with a question that's contributing to the session. And that is one non-technical aspect of a virtual meeting, to ensure that your mics are muted. I'm not sure whose background noise is here. Okay. So it's important to have a webcam that works. Most laptops and devices have cameras on them, so we're lucky with technology these days. However, there are some devices that do not have webcams, so it's important that we get a good web camera that we can position properly to suit the purpose of our presentation. And of course, it's important to have a microphone. Now, just to respond to a question around audio. I'm not really sure what you mean by the constraint to move around the house. So please just expand on that in the chat and I'll be able to respond. But what I was going to say about that is that sometimes our microphones and speakers may not be as good as some other devices. So I'd also recommend buying a headset with a fixed speaker and microphone on your actual head, like with the microphones, with the speakers on your ears and the microphone connected as well. So that makes you more audible during your meetings. So for the non-technical components, and these are very important things, which we always look out for, interestingly, during our physical Toastmasters meetings, but we shouldn't take for granted during online or virtual meetings. So those things are our appearance. Are we well dressed? Are we well positioned? Are we wearing the right attire? Online virtual meetings don't mean that you're going to roll out of your bed and show up in a meeting in your pajamas or in formal wear. We should still always follow the Toastmasters dress code when we are in meetings. Lighting is also important because we need to ensure that our faces are illuminated because people are still going to have to connect with us. The work area, like I said, needs to be arranged. And now role players, this is something that's very important. Okay. And I think this is going to answer the next question. How to handle trainings virtually, how to get people to benefit because of other engagements behind the scene as facilitator and participants. Okay, so I'll try to answer this in continuing on with these non-technical components, because what I hear is that you need to ensure that people are actually engaged and paying attention to the content or whatever it is that you're saying. Yes, it is more difficult to grab attention when you're talking to a screen, but there are different ways to engage. And some of these things are actually non-technical aspects. As a facilitator, you can play games, you can get people to interact on a platform, you can do poll sessions so that people are engaged or their attention is grabbed. And then as participants, it's also important that you actually zone out of every other thing that's going on in your background. Because, for instance, if you're at home, there might be your spouse, your children, or your parents might be in the background. Always make sure that you're in an isolated area. Make sure you tell those in your household that you are in a meeting, because some people might not be aware that you are in a session and they might not be aware of the distractions that they present to you. As a participant or a host, you need to ensure that all distractions are not are not impairing the delivery of the content and the absorption of the information. It's just very important to ensure that everyone around you is aware in advance of what is going on in your meeting. Okay. Now, how to be an effective host. This is also going to answer that question. Please continue to put your questions and comments in the chat box and let me know if I've answered your questions or not. Now, to be an effective host in a virtual meeting, you need to use the right technology. And in doing so, it's important that you actually even test your technology ahead of your meetings. I'll give an example from the division. Toastmaster Chidi has done a great job in that for many Toastmaster sessions and trainings, she and the team, I would assume that it's a collaborative effort, ensure that trial sessions or mock sessions take place before the real sessions so that people are aware of all their roles that they have to play. People are aware of how things could work out and any questions that could arise, anything that could come up during the actual session. So these things are addressed before going into the actual meeting. Then the next point is to carefully structure the sequence of events. This is very important. As Toastmasters, we always have a meeting agenda. This should be replicated in virtual sessions at all times as well. There should be a clear structure, and every role player should be aware of what they're doing when they come in and what their technical requirements are as well. And I'll give an example. I've noticed in some Toastmasters meetings, when the timer is coming to play, before the meeting, there's an announcement that when a speaker is giving a speech, they should pin the timer so that they see or are able to view the colors of the timing cards, which are displayed on the timer screen, so that they know when to round up their speeches. So it's important that everybody who's participating in the meeting knows the sequence of events and knows the role they're playing in that sequence. Like I said earlier, dress the parts, use role players. I think that is largely clear, but please ask any questions if you have any around that. Everybody must be aware of what they need to do so that they're not asking questions. Also set the ground rules. So I'll give an example of something that's actually happened during this session. It's important to ensure that whilst one person is talking, others who are not participating in that session are muted during the session, because some people might forget that they need to mute themselves during the meeting. So I should have really even mentioned at the very beginning, please mute your microphones because I'll be doing the talking for this session. But I did mention, please put your questions in the comments area so that we can actually engage and infuse your questions in the session. So it's important to know the ground rules. Different clubs might have their different criteria and different ground rules, but it's important to let people know all of these in advance. Now, break long content into 10 and 15-minute segments. So I think we achieved this to an extent through our Toastmasters, the typical Toastmasters agenda, because we have different meeting segments. And I've also noticed that some clubs also include the breaks in their segments. Breaks are important during virtual meetings as well. This is something I've noticed outside the context of Toastmasters that people take for granted, because there's sometimes people have long virtual seminars. They don't give breaks. There's no lunch, no time to take a breather. But please ensure that there are breaks in between. And I think this also answers the question of getting the attention of participants and hosts. Sometimes participants get worn out staring at your screen for hours. So as a host, it's also a good idea to give your participants a breather so that they can take a walking break. They can take their eyes off the screen. They can go and have a glass of water or a cup of tea or coffee, just so that they're replenished and they're refreshed when they come back and optimize the content you're delivering during that session. Okay, someone said it would be interesting to know how to pin the timer. Okay, so I would explain this. So if you go to Typically at the Toastmasters meeting, I would actually even say that, first of all, you need to identify role players. And what some clubs do is that they tell their role players to write the name of their role in their ID on the chat on as a Zoom ID. So it will be timer Oyin Egbeyemi, so that anybody who's in a meeting knows that this person is the timer. And I'll let you know how to pin. So okay, okay. So what you need to do to pin a person during the meeting is to just click on the person's screen, on the person's video screen, and you see the option mute my audio, stop video, and then you see pin video. So that is actually how you pin. So once you click on pin video, your own screen would be focused on that person's video so that it's enlarged and you're not distracted by any other person's screen during that session. I hope that is clear. All right. And of course, getting everyone involved. Everybody should feel like they're part of the meeting, including your guests. So it's important that you get guests to participate. The good thing about Toastmasters is that we have table topics, which is a good opportunity to get guests to speak during your meetings. A good way to get guests involved during your meetings, which I experienced at the Eagle Toastmasters Change of Guard, is even to play a game. I beg your Sorry, my apologies. That was an example of a distraction. Okay, so a good way to do things is to get people involved is to maybe do a poll with a game or do a Google form with a game. That's always okay, I'll speak for myself and say that I love games. So once you put a game in a meeting session, I'm so excited. There are many tools you can use. You can use Google Forms, you can use Kahoot, you can use the poll function on Zoom. I'm not really sure what Microsoft Teams has to offer, but you can always link these platforms onto the Zoom so that people can just have a variety of ways to participate. We're online and it is indeed difficult to interact when we're not physically present, but there are ways around it and you can get your guests involved. You can also do it and a guest introduction at the end of your meeting still on your online platforms. Okay, so now this is a fantastic slide that kind of summarizes everything I have spoken about during this meeting and a few more that I haven't touched. And I'll just say each of them one at a time. So it's important. So I'll start from here, testing your technology. Do test your technology before you go into the meeting. Test your microphone, test your audio, test your lighting, test your background, test your makeup, test everything you have expectations for during the meeting so that you don't have an issue when you eventually get into the meeting, and do this far ahead of time so that if there are any issues, like technical issues that need to be addressed, they can be rectified before the meeting. Use your gestures. The fact that you're in an online meeting does not mean that you just sit down straight and nobody sees what you're doing. Use your hand gestures. I've seen some beautiful speeches that have been presented where people are actually, they've set up their cameras in such a way that they can stand or be at a distance from them, but it's still well set up, good background, fantastic lighting, and they deliver their speeches. Those speeches are always more effective than other speeches that don't have that much thought that has been incorporated. So think about your background, avoid anything distracting, avoid maybe a painting that might not be appeasing, maybe different things that might not be appeasing. And also you could just use a virtual background. At Toastmasters, we have all sorts of virtual backgrounds. Our area director had a beautiful Toastmasters virtual background. I've seen many district officers and executive committee members use virtual backgrounds. Virtual backgrounds help reduce distractions from other things that might be going on in your background, including I've seen some people's children run into their backgrounds during meetings. So those are the things that you can do to reduce those distractions. So make eye contact with your camera. This is something I struggle with as well because I tend to look at the participants rather than the camera. So that's his feedback for me too. Just try to look directly into your camera when you're speaking. I know it is awkward because the camera is not a set of eyes, and we're used to looking at a set of eyes during our meetings, but our set of eyes is our camera this time around. Stand tall. Always ensure that, again, body language, speech 5, competent communication in the legacy program. Your body language needs to be on point. People can still tell if you're slouching or if anything is going on with your body language. Okay, and then treat it like any other meeting, like I said before. Dress the part, play the part, participate like you're in a meeting. It's difficult, but we also need to ensure that we're also sharing our love as Toastmasters. We're making sure that everybody is carried along during the meeting, like we normally do at our physical meetings. Mute your microphone, like I mentioned earlier. It's part of the ground rules we need to set. Use proper lighting. It's best when your light is actually in front of you, so that it's not too harsh when it's like just around you. So you can set up your room in such a way that the brightest lights are like maybe a meter in front of you. So that's a good tip I would use. Also eliminate noise. I noticed earlier in this session that some of us have our WhatsApp for our PCs on while our mics are not muted as well. So these WhatsApp notifications sound, and really any other notification sound, could be a distraction to a virtual session. So I would advise that you turn off your WhatsApp while you're in a virtual meeting and your microphone is unmuted, so that your notification sound is not a distraction to other people. Okay, and that would be it for me. If there are any other questions, kindly type in the chat, or you can feel free to open up your microphone if time will permit. So PQD, if time permits us, we can take a few questions.
All right. Master Busser, you're our uncle, please.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Madam PQD. Madam Era Director. Thank you, Toastmaster Malik.
All right, I think anyone that has questions can either use the chat box or just indicate by raising your hand so that your mic will be unmuted.
Okay, no problem. Well, I actually have another tip. Oh, Madam PQD, Madam AD is saying that she can't unmute. I think there has been a lock on that. Okay.
Let's try now.
Okay, thank you for the tip, Toastmaster Pamela. If you don't have good lighting, a window usually helps. I would always say that the best lighting is natural light. So if you are in an area where you maybe don't have buildings around you or trees around you, it's wonderful to stay by your window and enjoy the natural light. I'd also say that, well, I can just go on and give a few more tips. When you're making PowerPoint presentations, it's important to enlarge your presentation into the full slideshow, because one thing I've noticed is that some people you just use the slides as they are and go from slide to slide, so we can see the background, and it's a little distracting when you have it's a little distracting, and it does not look professional when you don't have a full slideshow like what I've done right now. Okay, I saw that a hand was raised. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, go on.
Yes, Toastmaster. Oh, yes. I hope I'm okay asking the question
Sure.
vocally like this. I wanted to ask you. You spoke about sequencing. Is there any hard and fast rule on how to sequence?
Hello, please let us know your name.
Okay, I'm Toastmaster Musa Jibrin from Garden City Toastmasters. I'm the secretary, Garden City Toastmasters.
Okay.
I just wanted to know, you spoke about in your outline about sequencing. So I say, is there any hard and fast rule on how to sequence your presentation? Is there any guide to it? Maybe you can just
All right, so
shed some light on that.
So we could either be talking about a particular person's presentation or sequencing of the events of a meeting. What do you mean specifically? Can you give an example, please, of what your challenge is?
No, I'll just ask you, are there general rules on sequencing, or just basically, what do you look out for, basically?
Okay, so I would say that there are no general rules for anything at all, but as Toastmasters, we have a template, right? So we have a template for the agenda of every meeting that we host as Toastmasters. So it's important that you're aware of every aspect of that meeting agenda and how everything fits into the meeting. There's sometimes that maybe something that you were doing at your club physically might not work on an online platform. So it's important to just test what your agenda and the sequence of activities is, see what fits in one place or the other, see what you can move around. So like I said, there's no particular template. I'm not really someone who is rigid in the way I approach anything I do. I personally look for ways to make things different and more effective. So you can try out, you can tell, maybe you can go to other Toastmasters clubs and see how they do things and see what you can try out at your club and see if it works with your audience and your members. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, nice feedback. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Onyegbeyemi, distinguished Toastmaster. We still have about 4 minutes. Please, CMCD, confirm it. I know our presentation timeline is 30 minutes. If we have anyone that has a question.
Okay. There's actually a question in the chat about the demonstration on how to pin the time. It's something, I don't know how to demonstrate it from here, but maybe I can look for a YouTube video on this, because I'm sure there will be some demonstration material available online, and perhaps send it back to the group, if that's okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, so here is the distraction from the mother of four. One of the points that Toastmaster Onyegbeyemi raised, even though I had to lock myself in the library, but I can still hear them screaming and shouting at the top of their voice. Thank you very much for that presentation. I'm sure you've actually taken the questions on the chat box, and if you have one other thing to tell us in a minute, then I will just do a quick wrap up of your presentation. Thank you.
Okay. No problem. Yes, sorry to go back on this, but this is something I actually just remembered about participation, because there was a question about how to get people to participate. I would say that you should also use your reactions on Zoom. So the Zoom application has a tool for reactions. So if you go to, I beg your pardon, okay. So if you go to your menu, or I don't really know what to call it, but there's a section that says, okay, Toastmaster Malik has shown an applause in his reaction. So a good way to participate in meetings is through your reaction. You can use a thumbs up, you can use your applause, you can use the different reactions, also depending on your device. Like the device I'm using now doesn't have as many reactions as another device I use for meetings. So you can use as many reactions as possible to show that you're engaging, so that people don't feel like they're just talking to their camera and nobody is listening or can engage with them. So with all of that, I would like to say thank you. And I'm available to answer any questions you might have after this session, if anything comes up afterwards. Okay, back over to you, Madam Area.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Onyegbeyemi. We DTM, yes. I know we were corrected and we're still trying to find a balance, that the DTM is actually an award, just like you earned the Toastmasters title, Sister Oyin Egbeyemi DTM. With the engagement in our chat room, you can rest assured that the right message was actually delivered to the listeners and participants. Let me just recap something that actually I believe is that should resonate with every an effective host in a virtual meeting. The only way you can have a successful virtual meeting is when you follow this rule. Choose the right technology. Technology can mess you up even when you are well prepared for a virtual meeting. Carefully structure the sequence of events, just like we're having our club officers training today. We already have time allotted to the speakers. The speakers know what they're going to speak about. Their topics are indicated. The agenda has been shared. Dress the part. You know, there are some places you just need to still take care of. Use role players. Set ground rules. Break long context into 10-15 minute segments. Get everyone involved. She has actually practiced all this during our presentation, and I believe all the participants actually took note of this key and vital information. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Oyin Egbeyemi.
Thank you very much.
Go to the next presenter. Our next presenter is TM Stella, a woman that is so passionate about anything Toastmasters. Thank you very much for availing yourself to take part, to deliver what you know about Toastmasters to all participants. TM Stella Odua DTM, if she's here, can you pin her for us? I know she joined us even before the meeting started. We appreciate you, madam. She will be speaking to us on managing conflicts effectively in your team. TM Stella Odua DTM, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning, my area director. Good morning.
Good morning.
Director. Good morning, my club leaders, fellow Toastmasters and our guests. It's a pleasure having you here in today's meeting. Thank you so much. I'm here. Thank you, Toastmaster Oyin Egbeyemi DTM, for that brilliant presentation. My topic is managing conflict in your team. We'll just go straight.
I just wanted you to be on standby. Hello, ma. Hello, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes, I want you to be on standby yes, while I read your profile. Yes, even though we're not in a physical meeting, there are still some ground rules. I want to be sure you're here before I start reading your profile. TM Stella Odua,
thank you so much.
Will be speaking to us on managing conflicts effectively in your team. She is a human resource management executive in the public sector in Nigeria, a master's degree holder from the University of Lagos, a distinguished Toastmasters who finds real joy mentoring and building people. She has served as past club president, Surulere Toastmasters Club, past area director, Area 19, Division F, past division director, Division F. She loves traveling, leader, motivational and public speaker, trainer, an avid reader. She believes in continual self-assessment. I present to you a passionate Toastmaster Stella Odua DTM, as she delivers managing conflicts effectively in your team. You have 30 minutes, ma, to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Area Director. I was told I had 45 minutes. I guess the time has been moved downward. Can you please confirm?
You have 45 minutes.
Please, can you please confirm?
45 minutes.
Thank you very much.
My apologies. 45 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, managing conflict in your team. Are we doing it together? Because it's by God knows so and Olusoji Sally. Okay, let's have the Toastmasters training. At the end of this session, fellow Toastmasters and our esteemed guests, we are expected that by the time we are through, we'll be able to identify the common causes of conflict in teams. Then we'll be able to also realize the consequences of unresolved conflict and how it affects the club climate. We are also expected that by the end of the training, we would have discovered the effective conflict prevention strategies and then best ways to resolve conflict. If we can achieve all of these things, I believe that we are well on the way to resolving and managing conflict in teams. Fellow Toastmasters and our club leaders, I want you to know that conflict is something that is with us every day, and it's not going away. Conflicts are neither bad nor good. It is the way we handle the conflict that make it what it is. So whenever we have conflict, let's first of all define what conflict is. Conflict is very, very simple. It's just differences in opinion. Conflict can be antagonistic interactions in which one party tries to block the other from acting or from even taking decisions. And there will not within the club or within the workplace. Conflict is something that must exist because we are all human beings and we all have different approaches and attitudes to things. So how we handle this conflict is the key to making sure that we have harmony within a club, within a team, and even within family itself. Let's even look at basic types of conflict that can arise. They are numerous. And we cast our minds back, we realize that every time that we have need to meet with one or two people, we must have conflict, whether as a parent, even handling children, or as even a parent working with me, or working with security guards, employees around us, or even within our workplace. Conflicts arise because people will never do things the way we expect them to be done. They must have their different mindsets and opinions brought in to bring about differences. So managing this conflict is the key to ensuring that we have harmony. And as leaders, we must ensure that we do all we can to manage conflict by resolving problems, minimizing the negative outcomes, and prioritizing the positive ones. If we can do all of that, then we have solved half or even more than half of the problem. Now, fellow Toastmasters and guests, conflicts are various, and we can see it from the various things that come to play in our day-to-day life. I'm sharing the next slide now. Resolving conflict is very important. But before we resolve it, we need to know the various things that can cause conflict within an organization, within a group of persons, within people. We have, for instance, differences in personalities because all of us are different. We have our likes, we have our passions, we have things that we dislike, we have things that, the ways we do things, the way we process thoughts and information, they all come into play to ensure that conflicts arise within bodies. And then oftentimes we find out that if a leader is leading, the leader may not have clear-cut expectations and goals, and or even be able to say it or pass across the message effectively so that everyone is on board on the same page. Because of that, each person kind of understands things from different perspectives on the expectations of that club, of that company, of that association. And all of these perceptions and unclear understanding come in to play to make sure that we have conflict. Also, we find out that people are not treated the same way. Sometimes, because of their personalities and backgrounds, you find out that you may tend to maybe be more lenient with someone, or be more friendly with someone, or be more even go-getting with someone. And different teams will interpret those things as if they are being sidelined, or they are being unfairly treated, or they are not even being recognized within the team itself. And that can cause conflict. The next one is the style of leadership. How is the leader leading? What style? Is he autocratic? Is this democratic? Is the leader democratic? Is the leader a very, very inclusive kind of leader that carries along everyone? Or is the leader even theocratic? Whatever it is, different types of leadership come into play. But the main one is that we expect that a leader should be more democratic and inclusive in leading. Other groups of thought also look at the different and common causes of conflict. And it's varied in the way they put it across. Like you will hear of conflicts over position, strategies, and opinions. That is something that can cause conflict within an organization. Oh, I think this should be done in this way. I prefer to use this step-by-step method. Others prefer to use maybe the last step first and the first step last. Things like that. Opinions vary and they can cause conflict. Personality clashes also is inclusive because we are trying to spell out some of these things clearer so that we can be on board. Personality clashes. We have thought of contentious personality. Then one thing that was not mentioned is mistrust or uneven communication. That comes under unclear expectation. If a leader cannot state what he is trying, that's his viewpoint or the goals and his mission within an organization, or even where members are not allowed to bring in their ideas and opinions, all of these things are part of unclear communications or things that bring mistrust within an organization or a team that can cause conflict. And the last one again that I want to talk about is power issues and personal agenda. It's, in a way, it dovetails under contentious personalities. It also dovetails under styles of leadership and even unclear expectations itself. But power issues come in because there is always power at the center. Once one or two people are gathered together, there is power issues at play. Once, even within the home, you hear husbands saying, oh, he's trying to undermine me, he's not respecting my leadership, he's not respecting my authority. The wife is saying, no, he does not recognize me within the home. Even the children also say, they are too bossy and they don't even think that we are human beings at all. They just lead us as if we are cattle or sheep. You see, power issues cannot be removed from any group of persons. They must come into play. And there are people who naturally like to boss people, like to lead, like to even follow, depending on the personality that is involved. You have power issues. If a person likes to follow, that is his own type of power. And it will come into play. If you not force the person, come and lead, it becomes a problem. If a person likes to lead, it may be very helpful for a leader because there are acquired leadership and there are also born leaders. Like most of the time, they're trying to tell you, Leos are born leaders and things like that. But Toastmasters will tell you that leadership is learned. And the best form of leadership is the one that is learned. So we go on now to resolving conflict. What can we do to resolve conflict within organizations? Oh, I have jumped a slide. There are consequences when we do not resolve conflict. let's talk about consequences of unresolved conflict. There are consequences. If we don't resolve conflict escalates to such an extent that it creates disharmony within a team. It creates mistrust. It discourages the team from even bringing in their best effort. And conflict, when unresolved, continue to escalate and cause greater conflict because each person now begins to find undermining excuses or underlining excuses to undermine persons within the group, suspect each other, and at the end of it all, the club will lose its membership, and members will damage their relationship permanently. So it's always good that we resolve conflicts on time so that we can have the best and robust environment within a club. Now that we have talked about the consequences of unresolved conflict, the next thing that we want to talk about is what do we need to do to resolve the conflict? What are the things that we can do to ensure that each club needs conflict in the board to the extent that everything that is happening is brought to the barest minimum and conflict is removed entirely from the club. In ensuring that we minimize and prevent conflict, we need to understand that respect and patience are required because each person comes with various emotions, perceptions, and actions. So we must understand and respect the way people think and the way they view things and be able to understand actually where they are coming from at all times. And that is why we find out that if we can understand people, communication will be better because we'll take each person at the level of his or her understanding and perception. So we'll communicate, we'll review the different styles of communication and we'll be more precise in the way we communicate to each person, breaking down our ideas in a way that it is carried along by every person. Communication is very key, and that is why we as Toastmasters, we are learning how to communicate. We are learning how to be, even listening. The act of listening is even one of the steps of good communication. So we must listen to people, we must understand them, and be able to communicate to them exactly what we want to, the messages we want to pass across. And because we are perceptive, if we notice that they don't seem to follow, we'll be able to rephrase the way we are talking in a way that it will make greater meaning, even apologizing for the way we have put some things across to team members. That way, they are not offended, but they are more open to listening to us, and then they will be able to follow us. And that means diffusing minor issues before they escalate, because if we are good listeners and good communicators, we'll be able to diffuse some of these things. A leader needs to respect and be patient with people. And by so doing, you find that if you understand people by the different attitudes and behaviors, you'll be able to be warmer to them, you'll be able to be more approachable, and you'll not be taking offense at every little nuance or maybe negative opinions or attitudes of team members. Now, we need to create a positive and respectful work environment. For instance, no one likes it when you do not recognize their ways of reasoning or their opinions and their thinking. So we must have that inclusive environment where every person's opinion matters. But even as they matter, we must be able to cut with clean knife in such a way that cut their opinions in clean knife with clean knife in such a way that we don't allow people to ramble for so long, and at the end of it, because we want to listen to the various opinions of people, not be able to arrive at concrete decisions. So the leader knows how to, that is, if we follow the Toastmasters method of allotting time to people, you will find out that you'll be able to create that positive and respectful working and inclusive environment for people. Give them time to air their opinions, allow them, listen to them, let them know that they matter, and discuss with them openly, listen actively, and everything, and ensure that you are carrying everyone along. Now, when decisions need to be made, there is need to include team members in decision making. We need to provide the enabling environment for them to come on board and be able to be seen as stakeholders in the team. If we can actually make everyone feel important, someone once said that make me feel important or recognize me is very important in ensuring that you lead them. Make them feel important. Make them feel that their opinions are important and are valuable for the success of the club. And you'll be able to carry people along effectively. Now, I want us to know that apart from preventing conflict, there are certain mindsets that we need to have. Within the club setting, most of us think that it's only the club president or leader that needs to know, that needs to be involved in conflict, in resolving conflict. Every leader, every club member has a stake in ensuring that conflicts are prevented and that they are also resolved within the club. There are so many, in some clubs, you find that even the silent account is the one that even helps to make everyone feel that sense of belonging, that even ensures that everybody is made to feel inclusive and welcome. So do not think that it's only the club president that we are talking to here. So now let's go into how to ensure that conflicts are resolved on time. What are the steps that we need to take? Many people or many leaders of thought believe that there are 5 conflict resolution strategies that we must bring on board to ensure that we resolve conflicts on time. Now, for most of us who are members within clubs or within organizations, you find that at different times we tend to display various conflict resolution strategies. For instance, you will find out that at certain times you may just need to ignore that a conflict is in existence, or you will just complain about it or even drop minor hints to say, okay, there is something going on, but let people know that this is a club and we cannot be doing all these kind of things, or they just ignore that people's viewpoints matter or drop hints without actually addressing the issues. This, in Toastmasters' opinion, is a very, very low and negative leadership attitude to have. Notwithstanding, anyway, Toastmasters' recognition that there are times when if something is happening, you may need to ignore it. But ignoring it is only a temporary attitude. You must be able to set time aside to resolve it. That's the only way it can become a positive attitude. The next one is also avoiding or ignoring. We have talked about it, those 2 aspects. And under this avoiding, ignoring, or even complaining is a third process, which is blaming others and blaming processes and even things that are going on as being the causes or root causes of conflict without necessarily addressing the problem, whether it begins with us or not. So if we must blame people, we must also be able to be open enough to blame ourselves that this is the area where we have done wrong, and these are the areas we need to work on. Don't just stop at identifying where the problems happen and saying, oh, it's only other people. It must begin with you. You must find out where you have been lacking. That way, you are looking at every issue in a very holistic manner. Now, after looking at these attitudes, Toastmasters strongly recommends that the best attitude to have is confronting the problem. Identify, set aside a very, very good time to confront the problem and set about resolving the issue positively so that you can nip conflict in the bud. And once you are ready to now identify the issues at stake, you are now ready to, that is, negotiate the problem, put in compromise and then be more accommodating towards resolving the issue at stake. Now, these ones look like they are just keywords. But as we continue, we are going to now break down these keywords to actually look at how we are going to resolve this issue in such a way that at the end of it all, you carry everybody along, you accommodate various viewpoints, you make everybody feel important, and at the end, you bring about a compromise and positive resolution of conflict. So we are now going on properly on how to resolve the conflict itself. There are some things that we should not do when we are trying to resolve conflict. We try not to bring in our emotions. Don't bring in your emotions. Look at the good of the club, the good of the organization in resolving the problem. Don't say, oh, while I was trying to come in, I was being abused. Because of that, I don't want to do anything again. No, let the club be bigger than you. Let it be bigger than your emotions. And do not make people feel guilty and blame them or accuse people. Because once you accuse people, you make them want to shut up. You make them not even want to listen to you anymore. Or you make them not to be open-minded, so as not to want to find a compromise or negotiate the solution to the problem. And we must never rush to provide solutions to every conflict. We must be able to set time aside and listen to all parties involved to resolve the conflict itself. Now, fellow Toastmasters and leaders, how can we now resolve conflict? What is the best approach to resolving conflict so that we make sure that they never occur again? We'll look at certain points that we can use to resolve the conflict that happen within organization. As I said before, you must learn to respect and be patient with people to overcome their emotions. So first of all, overcome your emotions, overcome perspective. I'll go to the next slide, please. Overcome your emotions, look at various perspectives, and then see how you can make sure that they are brought on board to listen. If you have to break the group into teams and put team leads so that members can really have opportunity to air their opinions, air their views, speak their minds, and then be listened to attentively, you will find out that it will go a long way towards resolving the key problems that are at stake. We must also be able to discuss with teams the objectives and the goals we want to achieve in resolving the conflict. Then we must make sure that we now bring people to the round table to dialogue. Once we can dialogue and we can listen effectively to people, hear their various opinions and their viewpoints and why they feel strongly about certain things, we'll be able to make sure that we'll calm them down in such a way that they are ready to now contribute to the progress and success of the team. Then once we do that, we should be able to prioritize, that is, list the areas of conflict effectively. After listening to the various parties involved, we prioritize the areas of conflict. Like Team A believe that this is the problem. Team B believe that this is the problem. Team C believes that this is the problem. Then the next thing is that Team A believes that this is the way to resolve this problem. Team B believes that this is the way to resolve this problem. Team C believes that this is the way to resolve this problem. Then the next step is, how can we now marry the viewpoints of Team A, Team B, and Team C, so that each person's viewpoint is carried along in resolving this conflict? At the end of this, we can now say, okay, let's put it to vote, or look at Toastmasters' time-honored ways of resolving the conflict, or even past ways that such conflicts have been resolved before. You now say, okay, at this point, having listened to various viewpoints and carried along, let's put it to vote which one the club should carry or which one the club should do. When we now put it to vote, of course, we will agree that it is the highest vote that their opinions will be carried along. And by the time the club buys into that opinion, you will find out that people will feel that, yes, they have been gainfully listened to, constructively listened to, and at the end of it all, a concrete dispute resolution has now been put in place. Once people have agreed that this is what needs to be done, the next thing is to map out strategy on how to go about ensuring that. It's like my slides, some part of my slides is missing. So please, I will send another slide, or I will just continue to talk, and so that we do not disrupt this slide sharing. I will still send the slide to team members, that's to all the leaders, so that they can also be able to look up on these things and follow them constructively. So I said that once each, that is, some areas of conflict have been prioritized and people's opinions have been heard and it have been put to vote, the next thing is to map out the strategy towards achieving the goals that this group has set up, and then assign people to ensure that they deliver on these strategies. And then the club leader can ensure, or people who help in resolving this conflict can ensure that they follow through on this strategy. And at the end of it all, see that each point that have been enumerated are followed up and the conflict is well resolved. The last step to resolving conflict is to ensure that all the team build on the successes achieved, to ensure that this kind of problem never occurs again. We need to go back again to the drawing board, to the various steps to managing conflict, so that each time conflict arises, we'll know how to resolve them. We acknowledge the conflict, we dialogue, we listen carefully to each team member to hear their various viewpoints and opinions, hear what they are saying and what they are not saying, and why they feel strongly about certain things. We prioritize the conflict, the areas of conflict, then we map out strategies again to resolve the conflict. We follow through on the strategies, and then we build on the successes. Each time conflicts arise, if we can follow all of these steps, we will ensure that conflicts are nipped in the bud and nipped in the bud on time. Now, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I have certain questions that I would like to bring up. I have initially asked whether it is only the club president that needs to resolve conflict, or it is the club executive and team members that need to resolve conflict. Can we see by show of hands the answers that members provide, or can someone answer who are the persons? Are all of us involved in resolving conflict, or should we leave conflict resolution to only the club leader, the club president, or the club executive? If you want to answer, please unmute yourself and answer, and mute yourself back again. Okay. I'm not getting any response, but let me say that all of us, we have roles to play. Okay. Toastmaster Pamela said everyone, including the executive and Toastmaster Mojisola Aishimoji also said the executive, the club members, and everyone. Oh, beautiful. I am having more answers now. It means that we all know that we have stake in resolving conflict, not just leaving it for people, because when you leave it for certain people, you are indirectly saying that the task should not be done at all. So, but leaders have the overall responsibility to ensure that they meet conflict within their clubs in record time, and where they need to resolve it and cannot do it, Toastmasters provides various tools for resolving conflict. Some of them are the training manual, the training opportunities that we have as Toastmasters, the leadership structure within clubs, whether past and present leaders, and then the roles that have been assigned to each member help us in determining who will better help in resolving conflict. And Toastmasters hierarchy of structure, from area directors to division directors to district directors, all of them, even program quality directors, all of them, they are to your disposal in ensuring that conflicts are resolved on time. That is why within a club setting, do not limit yourself to only what is going on in the club. Reach out to other leaders. You even have the resources from other club leaders. Talk with them, other club presidents. They will tell you how they have resolved similar conflicts within their own team. And all of these things are things that we can key into to help in resolving our conflicts. Other questions that I would like to ask are, what steps can we take? Somebody asked this question. What steps can we take to resolve conflicts when they occur? I have indirectly answered it when I gave key steps like identifying problems, listening, communicating, prioritizing, sitting down on the round table to resolve the conflict, mapping out strategies, following through on the strategy, and then building on successes achieved, whether within the club or even outside the club, or even with previous antecedents that can help in resolving the conflict. I want to highlight some of the questions that have been asked so far so that we can look at some of the questions. One person asked, please, can you do a quick demonstration? Oh. One person asked, what is the best, how do you stand firm on an opinion despite another popular standpoint without introducing conflict? That is a question that one of our leaders have asked on this platform. How do you stand firm? Sometimes you will find out that you have differences in opinion and you believe that you are convinced within you that that is the best way to go about it. You can stand firm when you ensure that you encourage people to buy into your idea without expressly expressing your opinion in a constructive manner and letting people buy into your opinion. You will just be like a leader that is leading. No one is following you. And that is not good leadership. To be a good leader, you must be able to now review that opinion that you have. Look at it holistically. See the positive aspects and the negative aspects of that opinion that you have. Then the best way to approach or make sure that you succeed with that opinion you have, how to get people to buy into that opinion. Once everybody has bought in, it becomes their ideas and they run with it. And you find out that it's a win-win situation for us. But as I said, being able to stand alone is good when you are convinced that the opinion that you have is good. But standing alone without carrying people along is an exercise in futility because you will meet resistance at all points that you move through. And you will find out that it will derail on the success of the club, derail on even your success and everything. So the best thing is get people to buy into your idea as a leader. Get them to own it. And once they own it, they will even run with it even more than you, who even brought the idea. So that is the way to make sure that you stand up on the opinion that you have. Another question is, how do I know when to escalate an issue beyond the team? Those are questions that people ask all the time. This is an issue that has occurred. How do I escalate it beyond my club without offending people? When you have used these strategies of making sure that you limit conflicts within the board and it's not working, bring in leaders outside the club, like the area director, bring the division director, bring in past presidents, let them buy in. Bring in those that you know that everyone believes in. Bring them in to buy into this. That is to look at the problem holistically with you and map out the better strategy. Because when an area director or division director or other past leaders are involved, their emotions are not so deeply engrossed, that is affected as those who are having the conflict itself. So they're able to be more objective. Bring them in and let them know that you want to bring them in so that they don't feel bad. And when you now bring them in, don't let each person now discuss the problem without apportioning blame, without making people feel bad. Just state how you feel, and like you will say that for some time, let me give an example. If I want to talk about an issue that is affecting me, I will say, Ma, for some time now, the area director, for some time now, I've been feeling that the club is not really making much progress because we spend a lot of time maybe trying to sideline people from buying into the club goals and vision. And some of us, that is, we are not in agreement on how best we can make people feel that they own the club or let them work with us as teams. And that is an issue that is affecting us. How best can we do it? This is my viewpoint. And I'm sure that others will also like to state their viewpoint without necessarily being insulted, without necessarily being rude, without blaming people, so that each person will state how he feels. This is how I feel. This is how I think that it should be done. And these are the things that I believe can be put in place to ensure that we achieve success within the club. If you only emphasize the vision, the mission you have, and the suggestions and solutions that you have, that you want to put in place, rather than blaming people, you will find that people will not feel bad. People will be able to also follow and also express themselves in similar manner. And it falls on the leader who is trying to resolve the conflict to ensure that he reminds people of Toastmasters core values and how to respect people, how to have integrity and be honest and everything in bringing issues on board so that you don't step on people's toes in trying to express yourself. If the leader can do that, you'll find that people are reminded on how to express themselves in positive. That is, you comment, you recommend, and you comment. If we can do that, you find that everyone will buy in, and they won't feel bad when you escalate the problem beyond the thing and ensure that these problems and these conflicts are resolved. The next question is, how do I approach a leader who is part of the conflict without being scared to bring up the issue? Let's say, for instance, some club members will say, he's the president. The president of Okay, I've unmuted myself. I asked the question, how do I approach a leader who is part of the conflict without being scared to bring up the issue or without feeling I'm going to offend that leader when I bring up that issue? And I said that the best way to do it is to make sure that when you know that the leader is sensitive, if you have observed the leader and looked at the peculiar way he does things or she does things, the first thing to do is to make sure that you don't approach that leader when he's angry or when he's in no mood to listen, because bringing up an issue when your partner or a person is not in the mood to listen is like not even bringing up an issue at all. So choose a good time. Bring up the issue. And when you start bringing up the issue, start with the Toastmasters evaluation method. Commend the leader. Say positive things about the person. Then ask the leader, tell the leader that these are areas of your concern. How can the leader help you? How can he ensure that these your concerns are nipped in the bud or handled in a way that the club succeeds in the way that you want it to succeed? Then after you have told the person, talk to the person, thank the person for listening to you. Appreciate the person for giving you the platform to discuss with him or her. It's a win-win approach. You are not putting yourself down by doing that. Instead, you are making the person buy in. You are making the person feel good by listening to you. Thank the person and tell the person that you are so glad he has listened to you and that you know that these your concerns are going to be looked at. When you bring it up like that, the leader is not going to feel bad. He's going to feel that he has a stake or she has a stake in ensuring that issue is solved. And here you do not succeed in meeting that challenge in the board, then you can also remind the person at a later time and escalate the problem, maybe within the club again, and talk about it. But I assure you that if you can meet it within the leader one-on-one, find a suitable time and discuss, you'll find that most of these conflicts get resolved in good time. Another question is, some people will say they feel their team is not always conversing, that is, the team is always conversing the ideas, that they don't listen to them and they don't feel that they have a opportunity to speak, and they want to know how they can address the problem. As I said before, how do you present your ideas? Present it in the Toastmaster step. Make your presentation have the introduction, the body, the conclusion, recommendation, suggestions, and way forward. If you can put this into your ideas and explain to people in a way that they buy into your ideas, they will own these ideas and run with them and listen to you. And I said, do not present your ideas when people are not in the mood to listen. Find a quiet time, find a more conducive environment, and discuss your ideas. And even put them in proposal form and share with people. You find that if people will buy into your ideas if you can find the best way to put these ideas across. The last two questions are, as a leader, how can I help my team address conflicts better? I will say, use the conflict steps that have been enumerated and itemized above. Keep using them from one conflict to another. Anytime you need to resolve the conflict, keep using them. The last one is, how can conflict be an avenue for innovation? I said that conflict is not neither good nor bad. It is the way that we handle conflict that makes the conflict good or bad. So let us be innovative in resolving conflict. Let us be on board in resolving conflict. Let's know that it falls on all of us. It's not something that we can leave for others to do. We must be stakeholders in ensuring that our club succeeds, that conflicts are resolved. And the emotion, one person contributed that emotional intelligence is key. Let's try to understand people. Let's try to ensure that that we recognize that we are all different and that our differences are not bad in itself, but are tools to help us to become more successful. Indeed, our diversity makes a club succeed more than when all of us are the same. Because if all of us are the same, we have similar ideas. And when we are faced with a challenge, we will not even have robust ideas on how to resolve them. That is why when we listen to people's diverse opinions, we're able to see fresh ideas. We're able to see beyond the opinions that we have held on to as solutions to problems, and we're able to look at other new ways of resolving the problem. We're also able to let me say that ideas are not new. It's just that sometimes these ideas may skip our minds, and we may not even be looking at those sides of resolving those conflicts. But when we have fresh diversity, groups that are able to come in to offer different ideas and solutions, you find that ideas that never occurred to us before begin to come in, and we're able to resolve various opinions. We must also be broad-minded and tolerant in ensuring that we resolve conflicts and opinions within clubs. Let's be tolerant of people. Let's not just think that it's only us that know. Let's see other people as being knowledgeable, as being good. So, in conclusion, I will say that, or before I bring in my conclusion, I would like to hear from one person for a minute how he resolves a conflict, he or she resolves a conflict within his own club setting. Use 1 minute to just itemize the conflict and how you resolve it. Table topic begins. If you are interested in sharing with us how you resolve the conflict, please raise your hand, unmute yourself, and speak. Let's hear how you did it so that we can learn. Yes, please. One person's hand is raised. Please unmute yourself and tell us how you resolved your conflict. Someone's hand is raised there. Please. One moment. Please speak. Hello.
Hello, Ma. Thank you very much for your facility.
Yes, please.
Well, I'm sure the technical
Okay.
needs to unmute the person for the person to be able to speak. That being said, we're supposed to end this session by 12:35. So you have like a minute to round up, but you can give room to people to just itemize that in the chat box, like you said earlier, so that we don't encroach into the time and agenda we have for this training. So I would allow you to wrap up in a minute. We're already, so we will just be late for a minute or two. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you very much, my area director. So, in conclusion, fellow Toastmasters and our guests, because our time is fast spent, I would say that conflict is not all negative. Conflict is good because it brings about new ideas and it encourages creativity within teams. Now, people, when they feel that their opinions are not being heard, they can feel bad within teams. And because of that, it can also give rise to conflict. So team leaders, as all of us who are team leads and leaders, whether present or future, let us know that we must ensure that conflicts are brought out into the open. We must recognize conflicts, bring them out into the open, and ensure that they are resolved. Burying them will never assist us in resolving conflict. We must bring them out into the open. We must name them, and then we must resolve them. That's the way to go about resolving conflict. After this training, I will share this with the area director, who will share this slide with you. And there is another slide that I also prepared. I could not use it because I get to another slide to perceive my slide. I will also send it to the area director, who will also send it to you so that you can use them in resolving conflicts within the club. Now, resources available are numerous within Toastmasters, one of which is building a healthy team. And then this slide, then also, we can also read about how to resolve conflict. And we can also use leaders past and present in ensuring that they work with us in resolving our conflict. I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to present this training. And I wish we had more time, but I wish to assure you that anytime you have need to discuss with me, I'm always available, and other club leaders are available to work with you in ensuring that conflicts are resolved or meet the board on time. Thank you so much. I would like to hand it over to the area director.
Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am, for that delivery. Thank you very much. The chat room was really, really engaging during this session. You involved everyone. Thank you very much. I'm sure she deserves a round of applause. We can use our emotion icons, or if we have your videos on, show with a sign of hand and applaud her. Thank you very much. I wouldn't even need to recapitulate based on several tips she's given us. But I love the last slide, that a leader must resolve conflict. Conflict would always come. You can't run away from it. You can't shy away from it. No matter what your personality is, you would always experience conflict being a leader. But when you have such experiences, what do you need to do? Be proactive to prevent conflict. Determine the best resolution strategy to use. Always aim for a positive consensus. Sometimes you need to collaborate. Sometimes you need to trade. Sometimes you need to be cooperative. Sometimes you need to let go in order to resolve the conflicts. Thank you very much, ma'am, for giving us this detailed presentation. So we're supposed to go for a 5-minute break, tea break, because I'm safety conscious and we all need to undergo this ego break. I know we have run out of our time for about 9 minutes. I would still like to crave the indulgence of everyone to take that 5-minute break. Please stretch. I can see a lot of videos have gone off. But if I'm here to, as the Toastmaster of the day, allow me to use that. If I'm going to insist that we all have our videos on and stand up to do 1 or 2 exercise, I'm sure that people will trade $1 million not to do that, because we know what we do when we're attending virtual meetings. Sometimes it's just the top that is fully dressed, while the bottom, you know what happens. But I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to advise us is please ensure you take the 5 minutes break. We will come back. This is 12:40. We'll come back at exactly 12:45 and go into the next session that will be taken by Toastmaster Abubakar DTM on handling the stress of your office. So please, our time starts, our break starts. Grab a glass of water, grab a bottle of water, get something to chew, flex your muscles, stretch your arms, stand up, check your sitting position, and do all you need to do within that 5 minutes. Thank you.
Madam AD, your 5 minutes is up. Sorry, please continue with the session.
All right, thank you very much. Our 5 minutes is up. Thank you very much, Madam PQG. So we'll go straight to the next presenter, to the next session that will be handled by Toastmaster Abubakar Nakanabo DTM. I hope I called that right. If I didn't call your name right, please, my apologies. He will be speaking to us on handling the stress of your office. Is Toastmaster Abubakar here?
Yes,
Please.
I'm here.
All right, thank you very much. Can we spotlight him? I love your Googles, their spectacles. They're really, really looking awesome, like we're having a lecturer today. All right, so I will be reading out your profile. This is quite brief, bullet points. I love that. His professional background: a tax inspector, expert in international taxation, certified public accountant. His Toastmasters history: he became a DTM in 2019, Division C Director, District 94 Program Quality Chair, and Pathway Guide. Toastmaster Abubakar Nakanabo DTM will be taking us through handling the stress of your office. You have 45 minutes originally that was allotted to you for your presentation, but as time managers in Toastmasters, please allow us to match up with the time lost and find a way to recover our time by doing this within 35 to 40 minutes. We would really appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, dear Toastmaster of the day. You are beginning to stress me now because I was prepared for 45 minutes and now it's 30 minutes. So this is a stressor for me, but it's okay because it will help me to illustrate what I'm going to share with you. Thank you so much. Fellow Toastmasters from Division F, I'm very happy to be with you this morning to share with you this presentation about how to handle your stress, how to handle the stress of your office. You are club officers, we are president, VP, VPM, etc. And at every single position, you can have specific stress. That's why it's important for you to know what are the different stresses and how to handle the stress of your office. The objectives of this presentation are 3. The first one is to identify the common triggers of stress in the discharge of your duties as a club officer. The second, to distinguish between positive and negative stress, because it's important to know that stress is not always negative. Stress can be also positive. And finally, how to transform stress into healthy productivity. These are the different objectives of this presentation. Our agenda is the following. After the introduction, we'll see together the triggers of stress response, the positive and negative stress, how to transform stress in healthy productivity, experience sharing, and question and answer session. Fellow Toastmasters, what is stress? As you can see on my screen, we have a guy who seems stressed. Stress is a feeling of emotional or physical tension. Actually, it's like stress shows how your body will react to a challenge or demand called a stressor. Stress can occur in all your activity in your everyday life. So I'm going to ask you as a club officer, let me ask the question first to the Sergeant at Arms. If you are a Sergeant at Arms, what can be your stressors? Could you type it in the chat box, please? As a sergeant at arms, what can be your stressors? If you know it, type it, please. The stressors of sergeant at arms. Are we together? Hope I'm not talking alone.
No, there's a comment in the chat box by Tosma Sebube.
Okay. I cannot see the chat box. I don't know why. So please, can you read the different comments in the chat box for me, please? I cannot see them.
Okay, so Tosma Sebube says, a lot of people getting to unmute themselves to speak at random.
Okay.
And background noise. I think this is very virtual meeting.
Yes, for virtual meeting, yes. Okay, great. Thank you so much for your answer. So you know that currently we are at period of renewal for duties, the second semester duties. So as a club president, what can be your stress at this period, this critical period for your mandates? Can a club president share his experience with us about what can stress him at this critical period? A club president, please. Is there any answer in the chat box, please? Can you read if there is any answer in the chat box?
So role players coming late to meeting.
Okay, role players coming late. Okay, thank you so much. You can see a guy here with many things, computers, phones, books, and he seems really stressed because he has many things to do at the same time.
Sorry?
Sorry? You can have some triggers of stress response. For example, being unhappy in your work. If you are working and you are not really happy to be there, you are not happy to do this job, you can be stressed for this reason. Having a heavy workload or too much responsibility, this is the illustration of this guy here. Having many things to do at the same time, you can see the environment where he is. Working long hours, if you work, for example, 6 hours without rest, it can be very difficult for you, and this can be a trigger of stress. Having a clear expectation of your work. If I tell you to do something and I don't give you exactly my expectation about what I want you to do, it can really stress you. And also having no say in the decision-making process. You are just here to execute, even if you are not, even if you don't agree with what you are supposed to do, you are obliged to do it because you are just here to execute. So I think this can be also a reason for stress, and having to give speeches in front of colleagues. If you are not prepared for giving speeches, having to give a speech can be a reason for a stress. As you know, for Toastmasters, maybe it's not a problem, but for somebody who don't have the habit to deliver speeches in front of audience, it can be really stressful to deliver a speech in front of colleagues or in front of friends, or generally in front of an audience. So these are some reason of stress for individuals. And also facing discrimination or harassment. You see, sometimes if you are in another country with another culture, and sometimes if there are discrimination in what they are doing there in their everyday life, I think it can be stressful for you. some of our citizens in Europe or in some countries experience, I think, this stress. Please, I shared an image with you. I just want you to tell me, what do you think about this image?
Don't comment. And that should be it.
What do you think about this image in your screen? On your screen, please.
The person is trying to multitask, and that can be stressful.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So it's a person who is trying to do many things at the same time. That's like somebody who has many hands. So this is an illustration of stress. For if you take the word, the S can stand for someone, the T trying, the R to repair everything, every situation solo. So someone trying to repair every situation solo. This is an illustration of what can be considered as stress. If you want to do anything alone, maybe you have a team, but you don't trust the team. You want to do everything yourself. This is a good reason for you to be stressed. But as I said at the beginning, stress is not always negative. Stress can also be positive. You have positive stress and negative stress. If you compare, positive stress motivates you and focuses energy, but negative stress causes anxiety for you. Positive stress sometimes is really short-term stress because it's just a moment of motivation for you. You are motivated for a given reason. But negative stress can be maybe short or long-term. Positive stress is perceived as within our coping abilities, but negative stress causes exhaustion. Positive stress make you feel exciting, and negative stress leads to depression. Positive stress improves your performance, but negative stress decreases your performance. And negative stress can also cause health problems because stress have a negative effect on your health. So if you have positive stress, it's really a reason for you to be motivated and to have a high performance. Now, how can you transform your stress into productivity? It's important to know your stresses. As I said at the beginning, at every office, you can have your stresses. For a club president, for example, we are currently at the renewal period. If the members don't pay their dues, it will be challenging for you because every day the area director will call you, what about the renewal? And your members are not paying the fees, the dues, so it will be challenging for you. I think as a president, this can be a stress for you. President or treasurer, it depends on who is really acting. If you are a VP and for every session, you are obliged to look for members to play a role. Every session, even at the last minute, you are obliged to look for members to play a role. This is a reason which can stress you. And also, if you take, for example, a sergeant at arms, imagine you booked the meeting room for a long time, and at the last minute there is a change and the room is not available. This is a stressor for a sergeant at arms. So every officer should know his stresses so that he can know how to handle this stress. You should put plan in place to prevent procrastination and overwhelm. It's important to put plans. Planning is very important. If you don't plan what you are doing, stress will be, it's like you will have many things to do at the same time, no organization, no planning, you will be stressed. So you have to organize your work, whatever possible, to invest in planners to better manage your time. Time management is very important. If you have many things to do at the same time, you should organize, plan, and know what are the priorities and what are the tasks you can do later. Delegation is also important. You cannot do everything yourself, because if you want to do everything yourself, you will be overwhelmed and finally you will be stressed. So find leaders in your team, delegate and motivate them, encourage them and inspire them to do the job for you. But because if you want to do everything yourself, you will be stressed. Take time off from work to relax. It's important for you to relax. Sidney Harris said, and I quote, "The time to relax is when you don't have time for it." When you think that you don't have time for relax, keep in mind that this is the best time for you to relax, because you need to rest to avoid being stressed. And ask for help when necessary. Even if you think that this is your own duty, but you have many things to do, you can ask for help. If you are working in a team, you have some team members who are willing to help you, who are willing to give hand. So don't hesitate, call them, ask them to help you when it's necessary. Because if you want to do everything alone, as you said, stress is for those who want to do many things at the same time and they want to do it solo. So it's time to share your story, to share your experience. I'm going to give the floor to 2 or 3 members to share the experience of stress. You can raise your hand if you have something to share with us, please. Can you raise your hand to share your story with us about stress, when you experience stress? Who wants to share his story, to share his experience of stress?
I'm happy to share.
All right.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Thank you, DTM. I'm sorry, I don't want to mess up your name. Thank you for the opportunity to share. My name is Mercy Georgie Buffet. I'm the founder of Lento. I think 2 weeks ago, I've been doing quite a lot of work because I run a digital consulting company that is focused on bridging the digital skill gap in Africa. So 2 weeks ago, I realized that I was just inundated because as a startup, as you know, in Africa, we don't have that enabling environment and you have to do literally everything by yourself. So I'm having to wear the head of the managing and damaging director all together. Like the picture that you depicted, I'm doing multiple things at the same time. So I realized that it wasn't sustainable, that I'll break down. So what I did was reach out to my team and start delegating. I started handing off responsibility and recusing myself from those roles so that they can run. They will not be perfect, which is what happened, but at least they are learning through the experience just because of delegation. And that's one of the things I know that delegation does. It actually changes the trajectory. And that's what we're trying to do with Lento. So that's how I did it. I was able to delegate. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think this is really a good example, because if you know, for stress, the most important thing is what's your attitude if you are in a situation of stress. The attitude is very important. Adopting the right attitude can really convert a negative stress into a positive one. So thank you very much for sharing your experience. Anyone else to share his experience of stress?
Okay, let me share mine. This is a personal one, and why I'm sharing this is because we can't separate sometimes our personal life from how we grow in every aspect of our life. So my name is Bosede Oyekunle. I'm an engineer and I'm very, very active, and I have a lot of other things I'm involved in. I'm a mother of 4. When I had my 4th child, I had him at a location where I didn't have the usual support that I usually get when I had the other 3. So for me, even though it was my 4th child, I was more like a first timer. So I was overwhelmed with being alone, managing, taking care of the new baby, and then doing a lot of things. One of the things we enjoy, or the benefits I've enjoyed nursing my children. I have my mother-in-law, my mom, a lot of people. The only thing I just need to do is to feed the baby. But this time around, I was all alone doing everything. At the point, to say the truth, I got to a point, I was so stressed out that the baby would be crying and I would just be looking. It was when I got to that point, I actually understood what stress and depression, the relationship between stress and depression. But one thing I learned from that process is when you're stressed or depressed, please speak. That would help you, even when you don't have a strategy or solution. Not until I had to cry out loud that I needed help with the people around me. That was when I got relieved. So when you're stressed, if care is not taken, from being stressed, you can enter into depression. Please speak up. Look for someone that you can talk to. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing this wonderful experience. I know that sometimes women are really very good in handling stress, and the tips you shared with us is very interesting. Speak. If you are stressed, find somebody, speak to this person, share your problem with this person. It can help you really to handle the stress. Some people have the solution for some people, just if they are stressed, is to cry, for example. Why not? It's not easy to cry at every time in front of everybody, but it's a possibility for some people to handle their stress. Thank you for sharing with us this experience. I don't know if there is somebody else we want to share his experience. Okay, so if there is not another experience to share, now it's a question and answer session, but you can continue to share your experience, because if it's not a question, if you have something to share, a comment, you can go ahead. Please, you have the floor.
So please, if you have a question, you can use the raise hand icon.
Okay.
You can use the raise hand icon so that you will be unmuted by the question.
Lawal, sorry for spelling. Okay, you have the floor, please. Lawal.
Yeah, all right, thank you. Okay, so my question
my aspect is
how?
Okay, can I go ahead, please?
Sorry, someone is talking. Okay.
Yeah, PQD, can we allow Lawal to go ahead? Then you go now. Thank you. Lawal, TM Lawal, please.
Okay, talking about experience and sharing stress is short one. You could look for kids at times, or look for old people to relate with and to make you smile and to make you calm down, or look for old childhood friends around and connect. And you could take a walk and meditate often. So that's been part of my own antidote to share stress and to ease the burden off. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing these tips with us. Smiling, laughing, discussing with person you rely on. Okay, so the next person, please.
All right, so my question is this. How do you deal with stress? So you've basically told us how to deal with stress. But what if stress from a person. So you're a club officer and your stress comes from your fellow club officer. Maybe he or she is not carrying out his duty or does so at his own time, not when it's expected or when it has to happen. How do you deal with that? Because it's different if your stress is from inanimate objects, technology or activities that you're engaged in. What if it has to do with a person? How do you handle that?
Thank you for this question. Is there any other question? Okay, let me try to give an answer to this question. So if your stress comes from your fellow Toastmasters, for example, how do you handle this? I think the previous module was about conflict resolution. And as the presenter said, it's important to discuss with the person to know the reason why, because sometimes you can think that the person is not doing what he should do, but maybe he has his own problems. So it's important to discuss with this person, to know the reason, and together you can find solution. I think communicating is the key to solve this kind of problem. For example, if you are a sergeant at arms, you book the room for the meeting and the treasurer don't want to give the money, for example, to pay the hotel for the meeting room. And every time you are obliged to insist before getting this money, this can really stress you. So it's in this situation, first, it's important to discuss with the person, to communicate, to see the reason. If it's not possible, maybe you can find somebody else who can try to talk to this person to know the reason and how to handle it, because this kind of situation can sometimes bring conflict, and it's important to find solution to prevent conflict and to handle your own stress. Because if your stress comes from somebody, you cannot alone solve it. You need to involve this person, maybe directly or by discussing with another person who can help you to discuss with this person. I don't know if somebody has some thing to add what I said, to share experience about it, please. You can go ahead. I think I have 3 or 4 minutes left, right?
Yes, you're right. You're right. Thank you very much for managing this time with us.
Okay. So if you can share with us your key takeaways from this session, 1 or 2 person, please. Your takeaways from this session, please. Delegation, know your stressors. Okay. Delegation is really important because you cannot do everything alone. So overwhelm, ask for help. Yeah, it's important. Ask for help. In your team, you will always find somebody who is willing to help. So don't hesitate, ask for help, delegate, and you will, and don't forget to plan, to organize your activity, to manage your time properly. I think it can help you to handle your stress. So to finish, let me share with you this quote from Leonard Bernstein. He said, and I quote, "To achieve great things, 2 things are needed, a plan and not quite enough time." So it means that to be organized, to plan your activity is very important. And don't forget one thing, the time to relax is when you don't have time for it. Keep this in your mind. Thank you so much. And get back to you, dear Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Abubakar DTM. Thank you very much. In fact, I was planning to do a recap, but I noticed that people were really engaged and involved in your training session with the engagement that was going on in the chat room. So that definitely shows that people are actually involved in what you're saying and doing. Know your stressors, know the positive and negative stress, and know how to handle it. Thank you very much for taking us through that. We'll go straight to the next facilitator. Can we please confirm she's around? Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you. Can we spotlight Toastmaster Susie Puplampu? I hope I got that right. Puplampu. Did I got that right?
You got it right. You did very well.
Beautiful. I'm applauding myself. She will be taking us through motivating your team to peak performance. Good afternoon. Hope you're enjoying this session with us, Toastmaster Susie.
I did.
Okay, thank you very much. So I will be reading through your profile. Dr.
Okay.
Susie Aku Puplampu is the Area 3 Director of Division G, Ghana Toastmasters. She is the immediate Club Growth Director for Division G. She sponsored the Rwanda's Toastmasters Club and serves as a mentor to PMI Toastmasters Club, all within Division G. In addition, Dr. Susie serves as a mentor to several mentees across 6 clubs within Division G. She also served as the contest chair for the English Evaluation Contest for District 94 for the 2019-2020 Toastmaster year. She is a CEO of a wealth management company, a wife, and a mother of 3. She believes that individuals must own their personal growth and the reason she enjoyed Toastmasters. Once again, Toastmaster Susie will be delivering the Motivating Your Team to Peak Performance session. She has 45 minutes, but just like I did with Toastmaster Abubakar DTM, we crave your indulgence if we can crawl back and then save more time from the time we have lost. Thank you very much. You have the floor to facilitate your session.
Thank you so very much. I'm trying to pick my slides and, okay. Let me just see this. Can you see my slide, please?
Yes, please, we can.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to join Division F in this session all the way from Division G. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. We are speaking about a very important point in us becoming Toastmasters, motivation. A number of times we tell ourselves that Toastmasters is a voluntary organization. There is no compensation for what we do. So it's our time and our passion and the value that we see to bear in what we do. So how do we find that balance? How do we find that value to continue going, especially as executives in Toastmasters? So I'll spend the next few minutes for us all to have a conversation. I'm hoping that it will be very interactive so that we can all share our personal stories, especially our challenges as executives of our clubs, as executives of our area, and as executives in the division. We are just a few minutes. I believe I have 40 minutes or 45 minutes. I'll try to engage as effective that I can. By the time we are done, the expectation is that we will all identify some common symptoms of unmotivated teams. We will explore the benefits of keeping our teams motivated. As executives, as presidents, how do you keep going? How do you keep your club members going? We'll also gain insight into how to motivate a nonprofit environment. Obviously, nobody gets paid for what we do. We'll also discover some effective team motivation strategies that can help us going. We'll look at what team motivation is all about, what it means to us as Toastmasters, what symptoms are there in an unmotivated team, the benefits we get when our team is motivated. We'll also look at some strategies when it comes to motivating our teams. And of course, we also spoke about the non-profit tag we have as Toastmasters. And of course, we will share some experience so far as we have provided leadership for our various clubs. Okay, so this is where I wish I could get a lot of us sharing experiences or insights into what motivation is all about. If you ask me why I am a Toastmaster, it's as simple as ABC. I found a gap in my personal development. I found that even though I had attained the highest degree in education, that is a doctorate degree, I lacked confidence in doing certain things. I had perfected the skills of writing, researching, but I couldn't hold myself on stage. I couldn't hold myself in front of, an unknown audience like what I am doing now, what I'm doing today. I couldn't have done it 3 years ago. I'm 3 years old in Toastmasters. What I am doing today, I couldn't have done it today. The skills of engaging with an audience that I'm unfamiliar with. So that is my motivation in joining Toastmasters. So motivation as described by Toastmasters is a process of creating in our team members enthusiasm, satisfaction, and the willingness to strive towards the attainment of shared goals. We work with different types of people, club members, club executives with different attitudes, different motivational level, different desire levels. How do we get all of this into a fine box that as leaders, we can celebrate at the end of our tenure that we actually work with a motivated team? So this whole process of engaging our team members, making sure everybody appears to be satisfied with the reasons why they joined Toastmasters, and of course, their willingness to engage. The worst can happen when you need your members to present themselves for speech contests, for instance. We are at that level now, and you can't find members to participate because the qualification for international speech is that you must have done up to level 2. So if you don't have members who have completed level 2, how do you even fill the position for the contest? So it's a difficult space we find ourselves in because what we do, we don't get financial reward for it. It is a certain level to get our team to remain motivated. So this is where I would have loved to pause to hear some thought, but please drop it in the chat box and I'll need help from the Toastmaster of the day. If at some point you can just read some of the points that members have dropped as I'm unable to pick the chat from here. What are some of the symptoms when we are leading a club that remains unmotivated? We have situations now that a number of members are very uncomfortable with virtual meetings. They can't just get it going. They are like, I can't look at myself in the camera. That is the only thing I'm seeing now is myself. So I asked them, have you ever practiced in front of the mirror before? Because that is what we are taught as Toastmasters, that for every speech engagement, we prepare, we practice, and deliver. And the practice is doing it in front of your camera or your mirror and seeing yourself, doing it in front of your peers and giving or allowing them to give you feedback. So if we are uncomfortable with virtual meetings, then what are we learning as Toastmasters? So those are some of the things that leaders are beginning to find as challenges, especially VPs, that you have members who have just stopped giving speeches because they can't just get certain things done. So for an unmotivated team, there's lack of teamwork, especially among executives. What you need is to have just one executive go to sleep. And the worst thing that can happen to any club is an unresponsive president or a VP that is so powerful that nobody can challenge his or her decision, or a VPM that decides to go to sleep. As a VPM, you are the marketing manager of the club. You are responsible to attract and retain old members, attract new and retain old members. So if you have your VPM going to sleep, then it's an issue. Lackluster achievements. Nobody pays attention to goals. That is all we do as Toastmasters. Goals, goals, goals at the club level, at the area level, at the division level, all the way to the district. Nobody cares about goals because there are timelines for the goals to be achieved, for us to get our medals. Lack of trust among team members. You have executives who have issues with certain things. I'm not sure about how the treasurer is accounting for dues, $45, $20, and we have issues with that. So if we have a case where we can't really trust what our treasurer is doing, then we have an issue. Our tenure is just 1 year. For some clubs, it's 6 months where you run your meetings on a weekly basis. It's just 6 months. So if we can succeed within 12 months as leaders, then what if we are giving responsibilities that are 4 years or 8 years? What do we do? Increased cases of conflicts. Well, I think we know that already. Once there's no agreement, once there's no teamwork, there'll be conflicts. Burnout. In no time, we start so well, you know, the energy levels are high after the first COTs. We are in the second COTs now. And I'm sure our numbers at the division is more than what we have on the call today as executives. I'm sure we had more numbers for the first COT than the second. So why are some of our leaders burning out? Low team spirits and willingness to take on challenges. The point I made about a new norm now, all we have now are virtual meetings. So why can't we allow ourselves to take advantages of the new challenges that we need to manage as Toastmasters? So of course, there are benefits. We know as leaders, once we identify the challenges, we know that those challenges are not making us to succeed. And of course, there are benefits. And these are the benefits. And I'm sure we can all relate to the benefits. That there is team efficiency and effectiveness. We are able to do a lot. It is very possible to achieve all the 10 goals in 6 months. The only thing that will be outstanding for us is the second COT. So as of now in Division G, we have a number of clubs that have now achieved the 10 goals. They are done. And whatever new goals they have now, they'll put it aside and use it for the next year. So it's very possible for us that we can do a lot within 6 months. And of course, in doing a lot, we are ensuring quality as well. Reduction of conflict. I mean, this is voluntary. It is not financially rewarding. We are learning. Everybody is achieving some personal and professional growth. So why should there be conflicts? It's only 6 months, it's only 12 months. Why should there be conflicts? High and positive team spirits. The best that can happen to any club is that every executive is up there. Every executive is excited about what they are doing and they understand the purpose of leading in Toastmasters. Willingness to embrace change and innovation. Once it's easy going for us, a lot of things happen by themselves. Toastmaster, please let me know if there are some responses or examples dropping in the chat room. Please just unmute and read them out to me. At least it will help me to know that I have some people listening to me. So please help me. If you have some messages in the chat room, just unmute and read them out. Thank you. Let's look at some strategies that can help us. At least we have 6 months to go. No, in fact, we have less than, so we are in February. So we are just about 4 months to go. By May, there are new leaders coming in. We know who is taking over from us. By June 30th, we are handing over. By 1st July, we have new executives in place. So we have just like 4 months. So what can we do if we haven't already done it? What can we do in the next 4 months? We need to continue to communicate the why. My why for joining Toastmasters is that I identified a gap personally. That is my why. So I'm holding on to that why to grow in Toastmasters. So beyond asking people to pay dues and to renew their membership, as leaders, we need to continue to sell the value in Toastmasters. The value in Toastmasters is beyond a stage. It's beyond our club stages. The value in Toastmasters is what we use as skills to do in the communities, what people begin to see you do on social media. And I think I am here because of that. Toastmaster Chidi saw me do something and feels that it will be an addition for me to be part of this training. So the why is beyond us coming to meetings and standing on stage and speaking. The why is what we are able to do as Toastmasters outside the Toastmasters environment. That we create a culture of collaboration. It doesn't have to be within our club alone, even within the area. How do the clubs relate to other clubs within the area? As president, as VP, as VPM on the area council, how do you collaborate with other clubs to ensure that your club succeed as well? And this is one thing we do in Toastmasters to recognize performance and achievement. It's a big deal in Toastmasters that we recognize and celebrate everyone that does the most little thing in Toastmasters. And this is where VP's role is very critical. That as a VP, you don't sit on level completions of members for personal reasons, that you do not process completions of levels so that members can see that they have completed one level and the VPPR can pick that up and celebrate the member in the club. So we need to recognize performance and achievements. Very, very importantly for us as leaders, especially as president. I keep saying that the success of every club depends on the style of the president. Because as the president, you are the CEO. You are the leader in terms of everything about the club. So what do you do to provide a positive working environment? And what we do as Toastmasters always is to provide a positive supporting environment for everyone to grow. That is the reason why we meet every week. That's the reason why we meet once every 2 weeks. And as leaders, as executives of our clubs, we must provide development opportunities. So it is not just about our clubs. It is what we do for the area. It is what we do for the division. And it is what we do for the district. And as leaders, we must always let these opportunities be known to our members when it comes to contests, that we are able to attract a lot of people to take up roles in contests. That is the only way people learn. You let them know when you are a timer in the contest, these are the opportunities for you. When you are a ballot counter, these are the opportunities for you. When you are a judge, these are the things you learn. So avail yourself for all those roles. And don't punish failures. Well, I don't think it's something we do in Toastmasters, but of course, when it comes to that, the recommendation is that we should not punish failures. Do I have any points dropping for me, Toastmaster of the day? Okay, all right. Motivating in a non-profit environment. Motivating in a non-profit environment. the point I have made, motivation in Toastmasters is an intrinsic value. It is within us. It is inside us. So if you can't find that personal motivation, then there is a problem. If we can't find that personal motivation, then there's a problem. Toastmasters, yes, we hold hands. And that is why the stage is where we gain our experience. But there's so much we can do for you as leaders. We'll show you the way, we'll show you how it must be done. But if you don't have that intrinsic approach in becoming a better person, then it's difficult. One thing I always do is to ask people why they are in meetings, why they are Toastmasters. You are paying $45. It's been 3 months, 6 months, you haven't done anything. Why? So it's important for us as leaders, of course, with the VPs, and especially through our mentoring programs, to identify with members the why. If they can't find the why, we help them find that why. It's the only way we can ensure growth. It's the only way we can ensure quality in members. So the point we keep making about Toastmasters being a non-profit organization is that nobody gets rewarded for anything that they do. So as Toastmasters, we must have the desire to overcome challenges. We must have the desire to acquire new skills. It's very important. And there's always something new to do in Toastmasters. One thing they tell us as Toastmasters is that you don't say no. Whenever an opportunity is presented to you, just say yes. You say yes even before you begin to ask the questions, what are the expectations? When I was approached to do this facilitation, of course, we also have COTs for our division. I only said yes to Toastmaster Chidi before I even asked her what she was expecting to do for me. So we must avail ourselves and be desirous of acquiring new skills. We must desire to produce the high quality work of everything that we do, even within your own social engagement. Your friends, your family should begin to see some quality in you as a Toastmaster, that everything we touch, there must be quality in it. Then we must also desire for recognition and desire to work with trusted teammates. Okay, this is the point where I would like to hear some stories, but I'll share mine with you before I allow a few people to share theirs as leaders in Toastmasters. I heard about Toastmasters not from Ghana. That's just 3 years ago. I heard about Toastmasters all the way in Puerto Rico when I was engaging in my doctoral journey. And I observed something by one of my mates, that every time a professor said we had an assignment to do, that they needed a leader to take up that opportunity, she raised her hands. For every assignment, she raised her hand. At a point, she was handling about 4 projects and providing leadership for it. Some of us were just looking for the end of the day, so we'll just go and rest. So I approached her after one of the lectures and I asked her, why do you get all this energy? And why are you able to do so many things at the same time? And she said, oh, I actually manage 4 businesses. It's not just, the things I'm doing here. I said, really? She said, yes. I'm a CEO for 4 businesses. And I get things done because I'm a Toastmaster. I said, what is that? Never heard about Toastmasters. This is like 3 years ago. I have never heard about Toastmasters. And she said, where am I from? Now it was beginning to feel very strange that this is some secret club that I've never heard about. I said, I'm from Ghana. She said, when you go back to Ghana, just Google Toastmasters Ghana, you will find something. And that was what I did. And from the first day I walked into the Toastmasters meeting, I didn't know there were such qualities in terms of time management, program planning, quality speeches, and the evaluation. I had never seen anything like that before, that people pay attention to you and give you feedback on what you have, not only what you have said, what you have done whilst on the stage. And they are kind enough to recommend to you what you could do to perfect what you were doing. I was like, really? And that was it. I walked in and I have never looked back. And I have stayed in because I see value and I can see my growth personally and professionally. Can anyone share with me at this moment what value they have seen? And the reason why on a Saturday like this, they are not out doing any other thing, but they are on this call, listening to a Ghana girl all the way from Division G. Can I have just one or two people just share in a minute the reason for remaining in Toastmasters, and especially as an executive, the reason why you keep doing what you are doing? Do I have any hands up, please? Yes, please go ahead. Please unmute and speak. Thank you.
Okay, I got to know about Toastmasters very late. I wish I knew Toastmasters existed when I was a Junior Chamber International member. It would have changed the course of my path growing up. I'm almost 50, and I've seen the benefit of Toastmasters. Number one, especially Africans, we don't know how to express ourselves. So a lot of the way we express ourselves is very aggressive. So for me, Toastmasters personally has built a different kind of, I'll use the word panache, the way I speak, the way I articulate my thoughts. And I noticed that the way I type my messages now is more intentional. So I joined Toastmasters just last year, Ikeja Toastmasters Club precisely, and volunteered to start supporting. And by the way, I actually won the most innovative member for this year. I'm so excited about it. And in joining, I've come to see, as much as we want to bridge the gap with the digital space in Africa, I've realized that training people are unable to express themselves succinctly and articulately, but Toastmaster is where you can develop that skill. And that's one of the reasons that we have started Lento Toastmasters Club, which is going to be combining digital, ability to speak effectively, and learning leadership skills. And so this is my own personal reason for being a Toastmasters. And I know that I'm on a journey of continuous learning and evolving. And it's only Toastmasters platform, organization, both based on the educational manual, that I can get that value. And I'm sure the new Toastmasters for Lento Toastmasters will say the same, because majority of them as ESCO are on this call. And I'm very, very glad about it. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm just happy that you are less than 2 years old and you are seeing the value and you are holding on to it. The sky is your limit. I mean, I have never been on TV, I have never been on radio. But because of the experience of setting up for a virtual meeting, because of the experience ensuring that you have the best lighting for your videos, because of the experience of learning how to look into the camera, because that is where your audience are. Now I get TV and radio engagements and virtual meetings, and it's so easy for me. I don't struggle. I'm not shy of my own camera. So there are a lot of things we learn as Toastmasters. If we can only avail ourselves and the lessons, the sky is really, really the limit for us. Yes, Olu Watoyi, you can speak now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Susie. I apologize, I'm not able to share my video.
Don't worry, it's fine.
Yes, thank you. I am Oluwatoyin Bolajeko, and incidentally, I'm the president of Lento Toastmaster Club.
Okay.
I joined Toastmasters in 2019, and really what pushed me to join is because I grew up hearing the same thing over and over again. You talk too much. So I felt talking too much was a bad thing. I became tongue-tied on so many occasions. But hearing about Toastmasters and joining I realized there was a place for talkers. In fact, there is a lot of space at the top for people who can express themselves properly. And I began to learn also that the art of speaking is different from just talking. There are rules of engagement, there are things you need to know. And in less than 2 years, I began to know a lot of things, learn. I didn't even understand or see that I was learning so much until some of my friends and colleagues from work said, I want to join Toastmasters. I've seen what it has done for you. Mind you, my growth in Toastmasters is so exponential. It surprises me a lot because I was first the vice president. I am still the vice president of one club, and I'm also the president of a new club. And I got Toastmaster of the Year award just last week. So it's mind blowing that, and the most improved Toastmasters. I just keep looking back and I keep saying, oh, such a short time, you are able to measure so much growth and so much development. Everybody sees you as a beacon of light. Toastmaster is a place that offers hope to those who feel they are voiceless. And that's one of the things I love about it. It makes you see that no matter how bad you are at public speaking or writing, there is a room for improvement. And that's one thing I'm passionate about. Always seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, no matter how bad it started. So this is what drives me. This is what makes me understand that I can do more. Because I'm working right now, but I still made time to attend this meeting because I am happy with what Toastmasters has done for me, and I'm excited to see what it will do for others. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lu. Thank you so much. Thank you for your experience, especially on touching on growth. Within the first year of joining Toastmasters, I became the club president. Within that same year, the division found it worthwhile to appoint me as a division club growth director. So immediately I started working with the division and of course the district. I mean, a lot of things were so new to me, but one thing we have in Toastmasters is that we have a supporting environment. Nobody will allow you to, feel lost in the system that as a VP, this is new, I have nowhere to start. No, there's somebody ahead of you. There's somebody who has done it before. Even if there's no one who has done it before you, the manuals are there. There's so much resources we have as Toastmasters to build ourselves. And within that same year, we didn't come into that because I had worked with the district. And there's one thing about Toastmasters, once you begin to join leadership, and you are not just limiting yourself to the stage and speaking, you begin to be seen, you begin to be heard. Out of the blue, division called on me to be the English evaluation contest chair for last year, just out of it. And I have never been a contest chair before, not for my club, not for the area, not for the division. But here I was learning to handle contestants from all over the regions. Some very difficult ones I had from Nigeria, who will tell me, I don't have the time to communicate with you now, contest chair, please let me do it at my own time. But you find skills of engagement because you have an assignment, you have a task, you have to help people to prepare. Out of nowhere. And now I am at the point where I am the area director managing 3 clubs. There were 4 clubs, now it has dropped to 3. And I'm positioning myself to be the division director for Division B, for Division G for next year. So once you have built yourself, the growth is just automatic. You begin to see that there are opportunities ahead of you. And it's all about motivation, finding value, and keep dreaming big and knowing that what you are doing is not just for the club, it's not just for Toastmasters, but it's for the community that is at large. So these are some few thoughts I'll leave with all of us as we conclude. For me, it's action time. I get very surprised when I hear that some Toastmasters, some people say I'm 10 years old in Toastmasters, I'm 12 years old in Toastmasters, and you can't just see the evidence. It takes 18 months to complete a part, 18 months. So a lot can be done in Toastmasters within 1 year and 2 years. As executives, we have only 12 months to demonstrate our skills. And in Toastmasters, every role is the first time for everybody. You don't become president twice. You don't become division director twice. Every time it's just 1 year for all of us. So the charge I want to leave for all the executives who are on this call is that let us own our role and execute them. Let the stories live after us. Let it be said that as Susie was the president, this was what happened to the club. Let it be said. And we must know that we only gain leadership experience in Toastmasters. We don't lose anything. All we gain is leadership experience, and leadership experience that transcends our club. I keep saying that we shouldn't think we are doing our club a favor by being executives of our club. No, it doesn't end there. It's beyond that. That we don't quit in the middle of our tenure. And I keep telling you, a lot of us get burned out 3 months, 6 months into the role because we are like, this is not me. I didn't know it was so difficult. I didn't know how to be arranging meetings every week. I didn't know how to struggle to get people to speak. I didn't know speech contest is also much wahala and all that. No, don't quit. Just keep holding on and enjoy the time. I mean, Toastmasters is fun. I mean, some people are in Toastmasters, they find it like a hangout after work, somewhere to go for an hour and a half. Just enjoy the time as president, enjoy the time as VP, as treasurer, as VPM, as SAA. I mean, SAA, you are like the PR, you are at the entrance of meetings, you see everybody come in. If you are the type that is so shy, I mean, SAA is the role that if you get, you must use to build your network. Every executive member must become your buddy. It's the only way you succeed. If you can't get friendship out of your team, you will struggle as a leader. Fall in love with your club and your club members. I mean, they are yours. These are your responsibilities for 12 months. Find a way to engage them so they are so attached to you and will follow you in whatever you do. Get involved. I keep saying get involved actively in the area, community, division, and district. Don't just restrict yourself to your local stage. And very importantly, this is for the VP, aim to have your club as the first to achieve any goal. Pathway adoption. It shouldn't be changed by the division. It shouldn't be changed by the district. I mean, you can't have members who have not signed out to Pathway. I mean, it shouldn't just happen. It should be 100% for us every time. We have 22 members. We should have everybody sign up to Pathways. Make some noise. Make some noise. If you don't make noise, nobody will hear about you. Make some noise. Let people hear your story. Let the community hear about what the club is doing, your achievements, your successes. If you have a member that is growing in another field, make some noise about the member. Tell and show the community that you are the best club and you remain highly motivated. I'll take some questions at this point as we wrap up. I don't know how much more time I have left. I think I wasn't timing myself. If the Toastmaster of the day can let me know how much more time I have. I think I saw some questions drop, so I can manage the time. Can I please know how much time I have?
Thank you, TM Susie. You have 5 minutes, please.
Okay, all right.
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right. Let me see. Are there questions here? Let me see. Oh, okay. I see. Okay, I see a lot of plus. Let me see. Okay, all right. Can I have any questions from anyone? Yes. I think something just dropped. Okay, I see all the pluses. Thanks for your session. This was nice. I love the presentation. Okay, thank you for all the pluses. So this is for me, but I want to hear from you as an executive. Why are you struggling? What is eating you up? We have 4 months to go. What do you need to do to get your team to where? And one big thing before I forget is succession planning. If we are at this point and we do not know the team that is taking over from us, we have a big issue. By this time, as a president, you know who is taking over from you. As VP, as VPM. And the only way you are successful with your succession planning is when you have an effective subcommittees working. Yes, Biola, you can ask your question. Please unmute and go ahead. If you have subcommittees that have worked successfully with each executive throughout the year, it should be easy for you to find new leaders. Please, Biola, please ask your question.
Thank you very much. I had a very interesting time listening to you. I had also interesting time listening to those who commented about why they became Toastmasters. I have a question though. Sometimes it is an issue to convince a Toastmaster that basically the improvement is individual on your person before you pass it on to anyone else. Now, how do I go about convincing someone who is already a Toastmaster, who hasn't finished his pathways, and suddenly cries off the whole concept of being a Toastmaster at all? It hurts. But then, basically, you are a Toastmaster because you find something in yourself you want to improve upon. But when you come across the Toastmaster who simply tells you he's not attending meetings anymore, he's not interested in any particular event, and he does not finish his pathways, you know he's not going to renew. But the issue is not about his renewal. The issue is about the fact that he is not exploring his possibilities. How do you convince such a person?
One of the people I avoid in convincing to join Toastmasters are people who tell me, Susie, convince me as to why I should join Toastmasters. I said, I can't convince you. You have to come and experience it and see if there's a need for you. There's nothing like convincing you. I am telling you that there's a difference between talking and speaking. I have observed you. And I think what you do when you're on stage is to talk. You don't connect with the audience. You don't use the stage appropriately, even though your content is so rich. There's something else you can add. So I won't convince you. Come and see what we do and settle for yourself. For some of the members that we have that struggle with growth in Toastmasters, what you can do as a leader in the club is to use some shiny examples of some members in the club. For instance, for my first part, for level 4, I decided to take a very challenging project, the elective project, start a compelling blog. It wasn't easy for me because I had to develop the discipline of writing every week and create some volume of readership to read what I'm writing and to give me feedback, because the project is to set up a compelling blog and not just a one-way blog that nobody reads, and give you feedback. And I tell you, by the time I was done with that project for 4 months to 6 months, my readers didn't want me to go. So now I am stuck and I have almost 40 articles now that I'm churning out. And I'm writing about all sorts of things on social, and of course, my background is wealth management, so I write a lot on investment, on leadership. I'm always talking about Toastmasters and all that. So you can use some of these examples to share with members that look at what this person is doing outside Toastmasters. And now for my second path, I am working on produce or set up a podcast. And this is setting up videos and stories, short stories, and build a YouTube channel and get some traffic after you and all that. It's a lot of work, but I'm doing that. And it's these engagements that people outside Toastmasters are seeing. That if this lady is beginning to write this way, if this lady is beginning to talk this way, and is so comfortable before the camera, then let's get her to come and speak on this platform. And I've had a lot of invitations outside Toastmasters. One of them was governance, IS governance, and I had to go and speak. So if we are struggling to find reasons, let's use some shining examples, because people don't see the value, some people don't see the value of Toastmasters beyond the Toastmasters stage. So let's use some stories to show members what they can do to achieve. I mean, Toastmasters, it's not, you can't talk about Toastmasters in 45 minutes. It's a full day's conversation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I may have to come in here, Toastmasters Susie. I'm sure you were just so relaxed doing this with whole smiles. Your face, the expression on your face was just so comfortable and so appealing to everyone that I believe even that look is enough. left everyone in their comfort zone to listen and absorb and grab all that you needed us to hear or listen to from your session. And how did you manage to smile from the beginning to the end? Yes,
you have no idea. My first 6 months in Toastmasters, and the number of feedback I got from my evaluators was that I don't smile when I'm on stage. Naturally, I smile, but the moment I am on stage, I am like, no, I have to be very serious. So that was the feedback I needed to work on, that you need to connect with the audience. And one way of doing that is to smile with your audience. They need to know that you are passionate about what you are saying, you are concerned about them. So that was one of the feedback I got that I had to constantly work on. So I smile. I just have to smile because it is what is needed on stage.
All right. Thank you very much. I just had to ask that question. So I would not do a wrap up of your session because you actually did a lot of justice to it. All I know is for every participant here, when you think about motivation, your team to peak performance, remember the smiling Toastmaster, Susie. Thank you very much for that wonderful session.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be part of this session. Thank you so much.
All right. We're supposed to take a 15-minute lunch break, but I'd like to crave the indulgence of our division director, Oluyemi Adioshun, DTM, and the coordinator of this event, PQ DTAC. Can we just go ahead to the next session? I can see Dr. Ayeshimoju here, so that we can round up in good time.
All right, let's have our DTM.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, sir, for that. So I'd like to go straight, even though I had plans for us to have 1 or 2 gists during the session, but this is business, so let's get to business. Doctor is here. Doctor, are you here with us? I know you had issues with network. That's what technology, where you do all your preparation. Please, is Doctor here? If Dr. Abayomi Ayeshimoju, DTM, if you're here, please, can we have his video on and we spotlight him while I read his profile? Please, can we confirm Doctor is able to do his presentation? Toastmaster Abayomi Ayeshimoju, can we please unmute him?
He's trying to reach out to you.
Oh.
He's in the room.
He's asking whether you can hear him.
No, we can't.
No.
He's muted. Oh, okay. He's calling me my phone. He's muted.
Hello.
Oh, hello, sir. Thank you.
Can you see me now?
Okay, I can hear you. Please, can we spotlight him? Technical, can you spotlight Toastmaster Abayomi Ayeshimoju, DTM?
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you, sir.
Can you see
your
me?
video is not
Can you please stop sharing your screen?
I should stop sharing now.
No, not you. Toastmaster Susie's screen share is still on.
So I'm not sharing my screen now. I haven't pressed screen share.
Apologies.
No, okay. Toastmaster Susie, can you please stop sharing?
Yes, right. Please. Thank you.
Okay, okay, now I'm on video.
Yes, okay. So good afternoon,
yes.
Sir. How are you this beautiful afternoon?
Good afternoon. It's been a very beautiful afternoon listening to such amazing presentations.
All right. So now that we have Toastmaster Abayomi Ayeshimoju, DTM, live and direct here, He's been able to overcome the technological challenge with his audio and video. I would like to take his profile and thereafter he facilitates this session. There's something I'm going to share. I don't know if he remembers the first or maybe the second or third time after meeting him, I whispered to him and said that, "You smile and look like my dad." And he gave me that smile again. I said, "Yes, that is it." Do you remember that, doctor?
I do.
Yes. So he's a very humble man. Your level of humility is compared to, you listen to everyone, you associate with everyone, irrespective of your level or your status. We're glad to be around your circle of influence. And I must say also that you have a beautiful wife that complements this virtue that you have. So straight to the business of the day, I can see the high of my division director. Hey, watch out for time. All right. Toastmaster Abayomi Ayeshimoju DTM will be taking us through sustaining a healthy club. A brief about him. He's a consultant physician, neurologist, home care and trainer / consultant in personal and corporate leveraging of brain capital for productivity. That is much. A distinguished Toastmaster and past District 94 Director, the Charter President of Merit Toastmasters Club, past Area Director, past Division F Director. I present to us Toastmaster Abayomi Ayeshimoju, Distinguished Toastmaster, as he facilitates the session on sustaining a healthy club. He will be taking us through the session. He has 45 minutes, but I'd like to appeal to Doctor. If you can do this in 35 to 40 minutes, it will be so great. You have the virtual lectern to speak, sir.
Thank you very much for the beautiful introduction. May I share my screen now?
Yes, please.
Good. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. It's been really amazing listening to the presentations that have come before mine, and I have been particularly thrilled to experience that we've had such presentations as are most likely going to make a difference to what we do as Toastmasters in this division. As you've been told, I'm to take this topic on sustaining a healthy club. And looking at that title, and it's been given to me as a doctor, I couldn't but make some connections between what we're going to do now and what a doctor does in dealing with the patients that come before him. He listens to them, to their symptoms, to their complaints. He examines them to see what is wrong physically. He makes a diagnosis, and then based on all the information he has gathered, he is able to put in place a treatment plan and a strategy. And what we're going to do today is strikingly similar to what the doctor does. And I'd like to just draw your attention to the fact that in this issue of sustaining a healthy club, the focus is mainly to do with membership, attracting members and retaining members. I'm saying this to bring to the fore the fact that this is not all that it takes to have a healthy club, but it is capital. If you don't have members of a club, then you don't have a club at all. So it is principal, it is capital. How do you attract and how do you retain your members? let me go on now and change this slide. A club, I tried to find a definition of a club, whether it's in Toastmasters or outside Toastmasters. And one of the definitions of a club is that a club is an association dedicated to a particular interest or activity. I think you will all agree with me that those of us who call ourselves members of any Toastmasters club are dedicated to a particular interest or activity. Am I right or wrong? Unmute yourself and let me hear you. Hello, let somebody unmute himself or herself and let me hear you. Am I right?
We can hear you, sir.
Yes, I'm asking.
Loud and clear.
That definition of club, association dedicated to a particular interest or activity, that it certainly applies to Toastmasters club, does it not?
It does.
Yes, it does.
It does.
What are our interests and activities?
Leadership development and public.
Yes.
Better communicators.
Very, very simple. Very, very simple. That is what makes us a club. And when you think of the club in the overall scheme of Toastmasters, where will you place the club as regarding importance? First of all, what are the different segments you have in Toastmasters International? Can anybody mention some? When you think of Toastmasters
benefits,
what are the different units that make up that huge organization? Yes,
the clubs,
area, division,
district, and division.
Yeah. Have you noticed when you read our mission?
District.
Exactly. From area to division to district. What is the mission? It really is to do with the clubs, to form clubs, and to do what? To support existing clubs to attain excellence. So the club is really the functional unit of Toastmasters International. It's like the cell of the body, without which the entire body does not exist at all. That is the importance of a club in Toastmasters. And so for this session, talking about how to sustain a healthy club, attracting members, retaining members, and what to do about whatever you need to do regarding the status of the membership. I said earlier on that we'll be like doctors. We want to know what symptoms there are when a club is getting to be unhealthy, and what strategies to apply in that case. And also, equally important, what are the ways in which you attract new members? And so the slide you have in front of you is just the agenda. And essentially, it is not saying anything new. It is saying what I've already said, excepting that towards the end, we shall share experience and we shall have a Q&A session. I want to pose a question. This whole issue of membership of a club, why is it important? Let me hear you. Why is it important? So unmute yourself and talk.
All right, because we want people to be developed as well as we are.
Yes. Any other thing?
Yeah, if you have a large number of members in your club, the club becomes richer because you get opinions from different perspectives, which will make the process of becoming a better Toastmaster even better.
Excellent. Richer club, richer experiencing. I've heard somebody saying you form a quorum. Because, you know, sometimes as a club, you may need to take decisions which you cannot take if you do not form a quorum. A very important reason why you need to have enough members in a club. So you develop the people who come there, you have richer experiencing in the club, you are able to form a quorum. Any other thing? And then somebody is talking about moments of truth. These are the things that will really determine whether a club is healthy or not. And we shall see in a minute the particular relevance of membership to your experience of those moments of truth. However, let's look at what we have here. Well, this is by way of introduction, and again, it's saying many things we've said before, that having members, both old and new, is something very important for the well-being of every club. And if you don't have enough members, your success as a club is likely to be jeopardized. And somebody spoke earlier on of richer experiencing of the clubs. That is what the third point here is saying, that membership very strongly impacts meeting quality and overall club survival. Meeting quality and overall club survival. Now, I want to ask you a question. Why is it important for you not just to have the old members being retained, but to have new members continuously coming in? Why is that also important, equally important, if not even more important, having new members? Hello? This is meant to be interactive. Unmute yourself and speak.
We can hear you, sir.
Hi, Doc.
Yes. I'm asking a question. Why is it important not just to retain old members, but to have new members joining your club? You are club officers. You should be able to answer this question.
For me, I think it's important for the growth of the club, but also to feel the impact of the new executives. When you come in, you have to bring growth to that club. And one way of doing that is to bring or convince new members to join the Toastmasters vision.
Okay, I think you've touched on 2 points there. Growth. If there are no new members, there is no growth. That is certain. And also, you've touched on an important point about having people to take over the positions of leadership. Any other point?
I see.
Yes. Need new members to replace those
for you
who were there before but who are
full of varieties of members. Where
any other reasons why you need new members? New members.
To achieve your DCP goals.
That is true. But let us now look at what we have. But before I do that, I have a question. In your experience as Toastmasters, whether as club officials or not, how many of you have experienced what you can call a really unhealthy condition of one club or the other? Anybody? You were in a club or you went to a club and you had to say that this club is unhealthy. Has anybody experienced that? Can you hear me? Hello?
Okay. Yes, we can.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Please
Okay,
answer
so
my
I have-
question. Yes, what have you experienced by way of
Hi, Toastmaster Stella. I wish to say that I have experienced it once, or on a number of occasions, because there was a time we tried to found a club in Ibadan. We noticed that the Toastmasters, even Toastmasters who were helping to grow the club, would travel all the way from Lagos, arrive 1 hour before the club meeting time, wait for club members to come, and you could see that there were a few committed members who would come in early, but the meeting would never start because the president would hold on to all the materials and say until she's there or he's there, and the VP, until they are there, the meeting cannot start. So what happens is that we'll end up for a meeting that is supposed to start by 1 o'clock. We'll wait till 3 o'clock before they come, before we can start the meeting. So you could see those power plays that were not healthy for the club. And at the end of it all, the club could not sustain itself because those new and committed members, sorry, my granddaughter is intruding. Those new and committed members soon gave up. And yes, and the few committed members at Ibadan soon gave up because they were being frustrated from actually convening meetings. And then those of us who were traveling all the way from Lagos to attend the meeting soon gave up because meetings would not finish until well into the night, and we would have to.
Hello? Did we lose her?
I think we lost her.
Oh dear. Yes. But she's very, very
coming back again to Lagos and arrived very late because
is she back?
Of roads and everything.
She's made very, very important points. Yeah. Lateness for meetings, absence of members of the club, lateness regarding the time when you finish the club meeting, people holding up the club because they are late and they have the information that is required to run the club meeting. And what was the overall result? Frustration. Frustration. I wish you would maybe tell us how that was remedied, because we made an observation, we made a diagnosis, then how, what strategies were applied.
Let me conclude by saying that the club couldn't survive because after a while, people were not turning up. Those who were traveling from Lagos to go and support the club soon became frustrated after wasting so much money. And sometimes they will end up booking hotels for themselves just to spend the night because it was too late and they had to return. So it was not economically viable for people, that is for mentors and for members who were leaving their jobs to come for meetings. They ended up not achieving anything, and some of them ended up leaving. So the club soon died in natural death.
Yes, the club died. And with the death of the club, Toastmasters will have lost some members. With the death of the club, Toastmasters would have been prevented from having a number of possible new members joining. And from what GTM Selaudunwa has said, I think she's also dealt with this question, which you have on the screen, unhealthy conditions that you have observed and experienced. We don't have too much time, so we'll not be able to ask other people to give us their own experience in this connection. And so, from what has been said so far, a number of the symptoms of unhealthy membership have already been brought to light. How many of you know the number of Toastmasters that have to be active in a club, which anything below that, you have to give the club a club coach? What's that? What's the figure?
Is that 20?
No. Any other person?
12.
The moment you have 12 or less members in a club, paid members in a club, that club is given a club coach. That club becomes eligible for having a club coach. And for that reason, I will even tell you that the first line here can be adjusted. It's not until you have less than 10 that your club is unhealthy. The moment your club is that unhealthy as for you to need a club coach, you're already unhealthy. And you can see on the screen, just like Toastmaster Stelado has said, dull meetings, very uninteresting, or meetings that hardly start and hardly end on time. And we were talking earlier on about the need to put in new blood. If there's no new blood, there'll be no growth, and the club as such will not develop. Somebody already spoke about how if you don't have enough members, you will not have easy succession in terms of leadership. And you know, you need money to run your clubs. Can somebody give me an example of what a club may need money for and which you may not have if you do not have enough members? Yes, dues, everybody pays dues, yeah, if you're a member, but what do you use the money for? Apart from what to take to Toastmasters International? Yes?
Hi, you can use the money to rent spaces for club meetings.
Exactly, to rent spaces for club meetings, to pay your Zoom dues, not to mention organizing workshops to publicize Toastmasters. If you don't have money, you cannot do such things. So the club that hasn't got enough members is even not likely to be able to progress as quickly as would have been desirable. However, when we speak about the negative, we should also be able to identify what makes for the positive. And that's why you speak about the science of healthy membership. Science of healthy membership. What is the figure you see on the screen as to the number of active members that must be present if you are to expect a healthy membership condition? What do you see?
15.
15. That is a figure you can agree with easily, because how many officers do we have in a club usually? How many officers? 7. Yes? Do you agree that we have 7 usually? Hello? Can you hear me? Oh, have they lost me?
No, you can hear you, sir. You're good. We can hear you.
You see, this number 15, I want you to think about it carefully, because talking about 15, it contains all the club officers, It contains all the role players at any particular club meeting, role players from leadership perspective, and from the perspective of giving speeches and evaluating speeches. See, if you do not have 15, you are likely to start having a number of people being burdened with having to play too many roles. And when that happens, it decreases effectiveness and efficiency. So that's a number to watch if you really want to assess the health of a Toastmasters club. And how many of you look forward to your Toastmasters club meetings every week? I can see a hand up. Any other person? You can unmute and speak. Yes, I can see Rekule. In fact, the ideal Toastmasters club meeting should be such fun that the members look forward to it as a way of relaxation and as a way of enjoying themselves, as a way of enjoying good company, and going out of the meeting satisfied that they have truly benefited. And of course, if there are enough members, there'll be growth. As long as the members are doing what they should do, there'll be continuous developments and continuous evolution. Leadership will not be a problem. There will be many people ready to step into positions of leadership. And of course, there'll be money in your pocket for you to do the things that will make your club grow and be known. Another question. What percentage of club members do you think are lost on the average every year? Any ideas? Unmute and speak.
I'll do a guess of 50%.
Okay, I had 50. Any other guesses?
25%.
25%. We take one more. Any other guess?
40%.
Wow. Who said that?
Toastmaster Leromoloa.
Leromoloa. You hit it right on the board. 40%. But talking about this loss, you are all club officers. In all honesty, as a club officer, or maybe as a president, or VPE, or VPE membership, did you have any specific plan as to how many new members you want to bring into your club for this year? Yes or no? Anybody? Hello? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Yes, I asked a question. Yes or no? Did you have a plan at the beginning of the year when you were doing your club success plan as to the number of new members you want to attract into your club this year?
Yes, we did.
You did.
Yes.
What was it? What was your figure that you were aiming at?
About eight new members.
8. How many did you start with?
Do you mean like the base number of members?
Yes.
Or...
What was your base number?
Okay, our base number was 34.
34, and you were thinking of bringing in 8 new members.
Yes, sir.
Do you think you underestimated or you overestimated, or do you think that estimate was right in the light of what I'm now telling you?
I think we underestimated.
Definitely, because if you are like other clubs, you lose 40% in a year. And that means, as a minimum, if you don't want your number to go down, you should strive at bringing in membership that is new to that percentage also. And you have to be very specific about it. You have to do your SMART plans and work at how you want to attain this number of new members. Let me ask you a question. The issue of sustaining old members and having new members, whose responsibility is it?
VP membership.
Well, I'm happy to hear that.
The executive, all the members of the executive.
Membership, executive, and okay. You're quite right, but only to a certain extent. But if you believe that you are really an association, people who have come together as a body, and you all belong to that body, and it is in your interest to act in a way that will make that body progress. This issue is something that every member of the club should be part of. True enough, you have VP membership, you have the president, you have the exco, but every member of your club should be encouraged and motivated and stimulated to join in the progress and growth of the club by helping to bring in new members. And if you do this, you'll find that many who would otherwise not have come on board will actually come on board. Thank you. What is this saying about a bird in hand? Hello?
A bird at hand is what's in the bush.
What's in the bush? I only put that quote there to say that in pursuance of what we're dealing with, we'll now go on and talk about how to keep our existing members. How to keep our existing members. I was able to listen to some of the presentations before me as to why people stay in Toastmasters. There was even somebody who raised the issue that had to do with why people leave or lose interest. Can you tell me briefly, maybe one or two very important points that you have experienced as to what makes people stay in Toastmasters? Either from your own perspective or from the perspective of other people. What makes them really stay?
Good afternoon, Masters.
Yes?
Okay, I believe people stay when they see the value that the meetings are actually, or the value the meetings have on their personal life and growth. So I think that's why, well, that's one of the reasons why I stay. So I think that's one of the reasons when you derive value, when you see the value that is adding to your personal life, first of all. So, yeah.
Beautiful. And that's why in Toastmasters, the emphasis has always been on member experience. Member experience. When the member derives value from being a Toastmaster, from participating in Toastmasters activities, then he's motivated, inspired. He feels obliged to stay because he's really enjoying himself and he's gaining from it. Any other reason generally why people stay?
Yeah, from my own perspective, people would stay if they feel heard and they feel like they belong.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. When they feel that the other members have their back, they have this feeling, a sensing of belonging. They know you care for them. They know you reach out to them, you stretch your hands out to them, for them to grasp, for you to jointly face a task. You involve them, you motivate them, you encourage them. The human part of them will come to the fore, and they'll be very happy to belong to such a group. We won't have time to take any further details, but we now move on to something that Toastmasters has already put in place for us, which we can use in practical terms, by which we can measure the likelihood of retaining your existing members. And what is that called, as you can see on the screen?
Moment of truth.
Moment of truth.
Moments of truth. The first impression. Are the members well educated, well enlightened, well orientated? Do they know where they're going and why they're going there? Are they enjoying themselves? Having fun? Do they find themselves in a community that is really very pleasant to be a part of? What's the quality of what happens in the course of the meetings? And we'll be talking about membership strength all through this presentation so far. And when they do well, no matter in what respect, are they recognized? And I did a little exercise, which I will come to in a minute. But I want us to remind ourselves of the club mission. This is so important. We must be supportive. It must be positive towards learning experience. For it is only in that kind of milieu that there can be a flourishing of the empowering of people to develop their communication and leadership skills, the results of which will be increased self-confidence and personal growth. Now, is there any club here where you do not recite the Toastmasters promise? Hello? Do you recite the Toastmasters promise?
Yes, sir. We do in my
Yes,
club.
we do in our club.
See, I deliberately have brought this out just to show you how close to perfect Toastmasters is the way it has been established. Because if you take every sentence of the Toastmasters promise seriously, and you make an effort to drum this into yourself and your fellow Toastmasters, so that they may make them become deed. Have you realized that you will be taken care of practically, in fact, every point in moments of truth? Just to demonstrate that, not in any detail. Can you see the list of moments of truth to one side?
Yeah.
Can you see?
Yes.
Okay. And you can see the Toastmasters promise on the other side. Just let us take a few things, even arbitrarily. If you attend club meetings regularly, which moments of truth will that impact on very powerfully? Look at it yourself and come out to tell me.
Membership strength.
Membership strength, that is the thing it will impact on most powerfully. In an indirect way, it will impact on others, but membership strength, okay? Prepare all my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education program. What will that impact on powerfully?
Program planning and meeting organization.
Absolutely. And when you provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluation, what will that impact on powerfully? Look at it.
Member orientation.
Yes, but certainly it will also
membership strength.
Fellowship, variety, and communication.
Fellowship, variety, and communication.
Communication.
Yes, it will impact on that directly and very powerfully. And it goes on and on and on. When you say, for example, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, what will it impact on? I won't make it too difficult for you.
Achievement recognition?
Well, yes, that will be when you, yes, exactly. You know, achievement recognition can encourage people to accept to serve. But when you have officers in place, practically every point in the moments of truth can be impacted, because these officers have their different roles that have an impact on the various moments of truth. And the last one I want to touch on, to act within Toastmasters' core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence. What would that impact on?
First impressions.
Very good. But let me tell you, that impacts on everything. Do you agree?
Yes, I do.
If you act with integrity, respect, service, and excellence, there's nothing in the moments of truth that will not be impacted by it. I thought I'll bring this out just to show that these Toastmasters that we're permitted to be part of is really amazing, if only we would use what has been laid down for us. I hope these slides will be shared, because what I've done with the slide that I'm showing now is the result of my own doing of the exercise. For every statement in the club's Toastmasters promise, I've indicated what it impacts, where F is for first impression, the FVC is for fellowship, variety, and communication, MS is membership strength, and so on. I'm sure you can figure that all out yourself. But you see, I find it a very interesting exercise. Now, we've been talking about retaining your members. We want to talk about attracting new members. Can you all see the slide that is on the screen? Can you?
Yes, yes, sir.
I want somebody to read out what you have on the left-hand side, from top to the bottom, just on the left-hand side. Somebody with a good voice.
Talk to friends and relatives.
Yeah.
Talk to friends, relatives, and co-workers. Where a Toastmaster membership.
Yeah.
The other side.
Talk.
Display Toastmasters magazine.
The one in white.
Distribute,
Yes, blue background.
Hello, everyone.
Conduct
Hello, everyone. Please, can we manage this effectively?
Please, can I ask, what's I do? Can you read it?
Yes. Hello, hello.
Can you read it, please?
Okay. Thank you. Please, can we mute our mic so that we can have a proper coordination of this session? Thank you, everyone. So I will take what DCM Ayeshimoju wants us to take, which is
You talk it, yes?
Where
you wear it?
Play.
You display, yes?
Distribute. Conduct,
you distribute.
Create.
Yes. And treat. Did you all hear her? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Where? How many of you are wearing your pins right now?
I'm wearing mine.
Don't have one.
Good. You're being honest.
Yeah.
But it's as simple as this. You talk it, you wear it, you display what you make it known, you distribute. Even as we're now having online meetings, you can still distribute. You can still distribute virtual digital brochures or links to flyers to your guests and prospective Toastmasters. You can still do your speechcraft workshop. Apart from speechcraft workshop, what other workshop can you do as a club to bring people to Toastmasters? Speech contests, yes, you can do speech contests, but it's a
specialized meetings like
yes.
pidgin meetings, wearing African attire.
Beg your pardon?
Like specialized meetings, like for example, meeting in pidgin English, wearing special attires.
Yes, those are specialized meetings. These are not workshops. Let me make it easy for you. There's a club that is planning to do a special public service session on, guess what? Parenting. Won't that be interesting?
It would.
You're giving service to the community, and that way you can attract people to Toastmasters. But apart from talking it, wearing it, displaying it, distributing, conducting, creating, and treating, what is missing on that list? There's something missing. We don't have time for me to wait so long. You don't just talk it and wear it. Yeah? Anybody?
Be it.
Thank you. Being
you live it.
Living it. By your being, by the way you live, by the way you act, the way you behave, the way you dress yourself, the way you talk, the way you think, the way you interact with your fellow men, you should reflect what Toastmasters offers. The way you give feedback to people. I listened to a presentation in which the presenter said there was somebody who was always taking on leadership positions, and she had to go and ask her. And she said, look, I got all this from being a Toastmaster. That's the most important point I want to make there. There's a gap which I see here. We have to fill in that gap and also take it on board in what we do in trying to promote. So at this stage, the experience that distinguished Toastmaster Stella Oduwa told us about, she told us about a club where she experienced symptoms of unhealthiness. She was not able to tell us what she was able to do because nothing could be done in that case. So what I want us to do at this stage of sharing stories, if one or two people have stories to share as to their experiences, either to do with unhealthy clubs and how they were able to remedy the situation, it will be very, very helpful. It could be something they did themselves or somebody else did, like maybe an area director or any other person or the president of the club in question or the VPE membership, what they did to make it a success story. So let's share your stories, please.
If we don't have anyone that is ready to volunteer to speak, you may take us through an experience, sir, because of our time.
Okay. Well, there's the experience which was had by an area director who was given the difficult task of being in charge of what you could have described as a moribund club. And she just took it on as a challenge, started attending the meetings of the club, taking each member of the club one by one, looking into the challenges they had, motivating and encouraging them to do their educational program. Of course, if you're doing your educational program, you'll also be attending meetings and encouraging them to contribute to the growth. Just like was said earlier on, one of the things that people like the most as members of a club is that they have somebody who really cares about them. Somebody who is there to motivate them, to encourage them, to show them the way. To cut a long story short, taking this club in hand in that way, the club was transformed in a phenomenal way. That a club that was already on her way out actually became a distinguished, if not a president distinguished club. The main lesson here is that in this responsibility of sustaining and attracting members, the most important thing is to be resolved to deal with the issue, to be resolved to recruit everybody who can be a part of the success story, to motivate all such and drive the process, and you can be sure success will be yours. That is one story that has been ringing in my mind ever since I started preparing for this presentation. Unfortunately, you don't have all the people.
ATM, sir.
Yes?
This is Adeosun speaking, sir.
Yes, I can see your face.
I will appreciate if you can round up in 2 minutes. We are supposed to.
Okay, actually, I'm through. Anything else now will be a question of if there are any questions which we can answer and deal with in those 2 minutes.
I would also suggest you do your closing remarks, sir. Please, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very kindly.
Thank you. Well, by way of closing remarks, what I want to say is that in this training and the other trainings we've had, if only we would leave these training sessions not forgetting about everything that has been done, but actually going now to thinking, putting on our thinking caps and going to our working tables and mapping out the benefits which we've taken away and the use we want to make of them is going to make a huge difference to our progress as individuals, as clubs, and overall as areas, divisions, and as a district. That is all I want to say by way of closing remarks. And I now hand the virtual lectern back to the Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your time and the delivery of this session. Thank you very, very much. Against all odds, we were privileged and opportune to listen to you. So we are supposed to close this program by 3 o'clock. We're 1 minute late, and we still have the address or remark by the Division F director. I'm going to squeeze this time into 2 to 3 minutes. Then the program quality director will do the vote of thanks so that we can leave here. Worst case scenario, 10 to 15 minutes past 3. On that note, I'd like to appreciate all our facilitators. Thank you very much. Thank you, Toastmaster Abayomi Ayeshimoju DTM, for this session on sustaining a healthy club. Did you allow me to do this and I will run away? Yes, I will run away and leave the lectern over to you. Ikeja Toastmasters Club, Eagles Toastmasters Club, Merit Toastmasters Club. If you are here and you have a minimum of 4 members represented here during this training, congratulations on achieving your perfect 10 as a distinguished club. Toastmaster Oluyemi Adeosun, DTM, over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Toastmasters of the day, and thank you to all the great leaders who have joined us today. Sincerely, profoundly, I apologize that we are behind schedule. I grew up in Eagle Toastmasters, we keep to time. So consequently, I would like to appeal to Madam PQD to make sure that not later than 3 minutes time, we are out of here. I would like to say thank you to everyone who has been working behind the scene and contributed immensely to the success of this program. I would like to appreciate Toastmaster Bosede Oyekunle, Toastmaster Abayomi Ayeshimoju DTM, Toastmaster Egbeyemi DTM, Toastmaster Abubakar Nakanabu DTM, Toastmaster Stella Odunwa DTM, Toastmaster Susie Paplampu. I also like to appreciate Toastmaster Chidi Chukwudi Madu, the Program Quality Director and also one of our area directors. I would like to sincerely thank the other area directors, Toastmaster Abdullah Jimo, Toastmaster Francis, and all the club presidents, vice presidents, all the former division leaders and district leaders. We see you, we feel you. We thank the clubs that have made initiatives to set up new clubs. Special thanks to Eagle Toastmasters Club, special thanks to Ikeja Toastmasters Club, and special thanks to AWN Toastmasters Club. We visibly can see the efforts to set up new clubs. I hope I'll be able to say thanks to other clubs, specifically with regards to this. We are proud of what we've been able to achieve. It has been a difficult and challenging year, but against all odds, many of us have raised the bar. We are all targeting 10/10. At the minimum, 9/10. I believe we can do this, and I'll be very happy to do it. I also like to let you know that I'm open to attend your club meetings. It doesn't matter the type of meeting, it doesn't have to be a big program. A club meeting is big enough for me to attend. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm proud of you guys. We don't say this often, but permit me to say I love you guys. And lastly, as a roundup, again, because this is the first major meeting after, so I'd like to once again, on behalf of Toastmasters Division F, express our sympathies and condolences to the families of Dr. Yewande Ntekem-Rex and our husband, both Toastmasters. At different levels, we have paid visits to them. We pray that God Almighty will continue to keep them, and we pray that this kind of news will be far from the abode of Toastmasters. We also celebrate with everybody who have done something remarkable, celebrated any accomplishments in recent times. Thank you so, so much. At this juncture, I would like to hand over, not to the Toastmaster of the day, because she has told me she's not coming back. I would like to hand over to Madam PQD, Toastmaster Chidi, who is a great woman. Over to you, Madam PQD.
Thank you most graciously, Division Director. I want to say a special thank you to all our facilitators from Division F, Toastmaster Abayomi Ayeshimoju DTM, Toastmaster Stella Odumwa DTM, and our friends from Division G, Toastmaster Susie.
Can we still hear Madam PQD?
No, I think technology is playing a fast one on her. Okay.
I think she was gone.
Please, most of these plannings are basically soft skills that we need to develop and harness. Thank you for staying to the end. Our tomorrow's session will commence at 11:30 a.m. Please reach out to members of Club who are not here today to join us tomorrow. We'll have another buffet of learnings to keep ourselves with. We all appreciate that. And we welcome in at a respective club level, area level, division level. And please, if you are yet to fill out the attendance, follow the link that I shared in the chat box, fill out the attendance register. Be nice enough to leave your feedback on how we have had today's meeting to help us to do better in future. Now, can you please put on your video camera for a quick shot? We need to commemorate this event. So please put on your video so that we'll have, don't be shy. Are we ready? Oh, everything is being quiet. Please put on your videos. Hey, can you please help us with the shot? My system is misbehaving at this point.
Okay, I've taken about 6 shots, but please stay calm. I can see while taking those shots, some people were adjusting and trying to use the camera as their mirror. So I'm going to take, yes, Toastmaster Damilola Yaya, I caught you adjusting. So I'm going to take a quick one. Toastmaster Babatunde Adebidi, you're adjusting your cap, right? So we're doing a quick one now. So give me your best smile and I'm taking the shots now. All right. Madam PQD, you can go ahead with the vote of thanks.
You know, with the entire pages, I noticed we have like 5 pages.
Right now we're 40 and I have 2 pages. Yes.
Great. Thank you, Maezi. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, once again. I hope to see you all tomorrow. The slides for today's training will be shared at the end of the training tomorrow. So the entire slides for this second round training will be shared with the club officers. Enjoy the rest of your day today. Please stay safe and take care. See you all tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. And please bring someone who was not here today. Thank you.
Bye.
The training has ended.
Thank you, everyone. I can see some people still hanging around. Feel free to hook up to anyone that you need to engage after this program via the WhatsApp forum. Congratulations to Eagles. Congratulations to Ikeja. Congratulations to Mary. You guys are already 9 over 10. So with this training, when you complete it tomorrow, please make sure you complete it tomorrow.
You did mention Sunshine, no?
10. Sunshine is 8 over 10. You are not. I just checked. Sunshine is 8 over 10.
Wait, is it the attendance you check or the snapshot?
No, I'm not talking about attendance. I'm talking about the DCP goal.
Oh, the DCP goes, okay. All
Yeah.
right. We will bring Red Barrel tomorrow.
Oh yeah, just about to check you come fully loaded tomorrow. Then you make sure you log in one more DCP goals. Then you are on the 10th.
No problem. No problem.
All right. Congratulations to everyone.
Congratulations.
Have a beautiful afternoon or afternoon. Well done, Madam PQD. I hope I can take my leave now.
Just because you say I know some people
All right, everyone. Signing out from this end. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend. Well, I'll still get to see you tomorrow. Thank you and bye.